Mike Missanelli Show. We got a Football Friday for you. It's a big game on Sunday, and in a couple seconds, Bill Colarulo is going to handicap the Giants at the Eagles. A ferocious NFC matchup. The Eagles are actually a 3-point favorite in this game. The storyline is that the Giants are looking to win their second straight season finale against the Eagles. New York Giants, with a win, could fall as low as 9th in the draft order, which I'm predicting they will, because everything that the Giants have done this year have gone ass backwards for what they were trying to accomplish. So they can't even get a good draft pick right now. It's the Giants now trying to salvage a season, and Brian Dable trying to salvage a win in the last game to go out in kind of a blaze of glory against the backups for the Philadelphia Eagles. No Saquon Barkley, no starting quarterback. Tanner McKee, the third stringer, will start. Other than that, Kenny Gainwell will get like 37 carries. So, Bill, yeah, I know you're a man who likes the X and O's, and this is your biggest challenge so far. Bill Colarulo with us, Ray Dunn with us on the Mike Missanelli Show. Handicap this game for me. Give me the X and O's. What do the Eagles have to do to win this game?
I'm going to handicap it for you in one word. Ugly. It is going to be an ugly game on Sunday, I would assume, with all the backups that you're going to have playing for probably both sides. I mean, you got Tanner McKee going up against Drew Lock. But there's some things that I'm excited to see. I mean, I don't know what the keys to the game are going to be, but you do want to see some of these younger players play well. I'm excited to see Axeman Jr. You're going to have Jeremiah Trotter Jr. probably playing a lot of reps. I know people are excited about Will Shipley, the running back out of Clemson who they drafted this year. He'll probably get a lot of carries. I don't think it's going to be Kenny Gainwell. I think they're probably going to rest Kenny Gainwell because he is a part of your offense for the Super Bowl run. So I think you're going to see a lot of Will Shipley. Maybe
people are going to be excited to see Will Shipley? Is that what you're saying?
I'm trying to make it exciting. I'm trying to do everything I can to make this exciting.
I know a lot of people out there excited to see Will Shipley.
Well, right? they are.
Right. All right.
Hey, we got some calls.
We have.
On in the year. Where's Will Shipley? Get that man involved.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm excited too. But what else we should be excited about?
Jeremiah Trotter Jr.
Okay, yeah, Axeman Jr.
How about that one? Maybe Bryce Huff makes his return this week and does some things. I don't know if they're going to play him that much, but maybe they would to get him into game shape. Look, we're grasping for things here. I really don't know who's going to shine in this football game. But all the Tanner McKee fans should be happy. The ones who have been calling for him since he performed in the preseason last year and then this year, they'll get to see an extended version of Tanner McKee. And if he plays well, maybe you could flip one of these quarterbacks in the offseason. You have both Kenny Pickett and Tanner McKee under team control. Maybe it leads to a trade. Who knows?
All right, let me just throw it this way. Yeah, because I know you've been putting a lot of time into analyzing this game.
Yeah.
Malik Neighbors has 104 receptions. How do you think that will play out against the Eagles, the third-string corners and such?
You know, Malik Neighbors is good, obviously. Very good rookie wide receiver. But the corners who are going to line up against him are no slouches. I mean, I really like Keely Ringo. I really like Isaiah Rodgers. So one of those guys is going to be on him. Now, they're not Darius Slay and Quinyon Mitchell, but they're pretty good corners. I mean, surprisingly, the Eagles have some depth at that position. So I don't think Malik Neighbors is going to go nuts in this football game. You also got to remember, it's Drew Lock throwing him the football. It's not like they have a stud quarterback back there. But I think Rodgers and Ringo will hold their own. And I'm excited. I am excited to see what Keely Ringo can do because coming into this season, I thought he had a shot to be in the starting lineup. But Quinyon Mitchell just showed he was more than ready to be one of the best corners in the NFL already coming out of Toledo as a rookie. But I like to see what Keely Ringo can do against a good receiver.
It's amazing how we're approaching this game like it's the last preseason game where we got to try and find out stuff about certain players who haven't played. So I'll give you another one. How about Brian Burns as an edge rusher against whoever the Eagles are going to have out there?
Yeah, that's a little bit dangerous for Tanner McKee. That's a little bit dangerous. I don't know, what is their plan? Are they going to start Fred Johnson, who actually showed he's capable of playing the tackle position? He played in place of both Mailata and Lane Johnson. But then who's starting at the other tackle position? Who's your starting guards? I guess maybe rookie Trevor Keegan's going to get a shot out of Michigan that they drafted this year. It's going to be interesting, but I'm not expecting them to be completely perfect. You're probably going to get some pressure on Tanner McKee. But if I'm the Eagles, I'm running the football a lot. Let's just get out of this damn game. And before fans say it, because I saw some people saying this yesterday, if Will Shipley has a huge game running, don't go back and revisit the Saquon Barkley decision and say, see, they should have played him. Even Will Shipley ran for 101. Decision's been made. Let's just live with it and move on, Mike. I don't want to hear about it again, especially from you.
Why do I have to live with it?
Live with it.
I'm not going to live with it. I think it's a faulty decision. I'm not going to live with it.
Ray, it's going to be insufferable on Monday.
Imagine him telling me what to live with.
Will Shipley's going to go for 101, and we're going to have to hear Mike on Monday that it should have been Saquon.
I'll take the under.
I'm predicting it now.
I'll take the under.
Of Will Shipley?
Yeah. You just said 101. I'll take the under.
All right, and if he goes over
for a cheesesteak from John's Roast Pork that you will have to actually over the bridge when you come over the bridge, you have to stop for it and bring it in.
All right, that's what you get if it's under. If it's over 101, what I get is you're not allowed to say it should have been Saquon Barkley.
Well, I'll definitely say that.
That's what I want. What's in it for me?
Will Shipley, whatever you want.
What's in it for me if he goes over?
Will Shipley get 101 yards?
No, I don't know if he'll go for 100, but he'll have a touchdown.
Now he's backing off. I love guys that make these bold statements. Right?
I said if he does it.
And then I make a bet, and then they back off.
I'll take the 101.
Oh, man.
Over?
Yeah, why not? They got a terrible run defense.
You both are taking over?
Yeah, why not?
Both of you then need to buy cheesesteak at John's Roast Pork.
Sounds good to me.
And bring it in.
The only reason why Will Shipley probably doesn't go over 100 is not because the kid's not talented. I think they're going to me and Andrew DeCecco were talking about this off air before we came on. The Eagles are probably going to elevate another running back because you're not going to want to injure Kenny Gainwell in this game.
Yeah.
And I don't think you're going to give Will Shipley 35 carries. They're probably going to bring up that dude. What's his name? Tyrion Price. Davis Price. Yeah, Tyrion Davis Price. He'll probably get some carries too. So that may be the only reason you don't see Shipley go for 100.
Yeah, but you might see him go for 100 just because we want to see the world burn and have the Saquon discussion again on Monday.
Wait, let's change the rules. 100 scrimmage yards. Because I could see Will Shipley getting involved in the receiving game. He's like the poor man's Christian McCaffrey. How about we do 100 scrimmage yards?
That's not what you said. You came out, you threw out your nipples, and you said he's going to get 101 yards.
Threw out my nipples.
Yeah. And now all of a sudden you get scared.
Oh, man. I didn't say he was going to get 101 yards.
101.
I said if.
Oh, this is so weak.
If he gets it.
All right. And today's going to be Bill Day. There was a story that was written by our pal Reuben Frank that went further than Bill Colarulo could ever go. In fact, when I recite the little things in this story that he has written about Nick Sirianni, I am also going to start a GoFundMe for a pair of new draws for Reuben Frank. Because there's no question in my mind that he wet himself when he wrote this story. He outdid Bill. He outbilled Bill.
Yeah, this made Sirianni Love look like a normal.
And here's what else we're going to do. Because there's another story today that's floating around about how the Eagles have settled the two most important positions on the team, head coach and quarterback, since chaos reigns in the NFL in a lot of places. I'm going to go down the list of coach-quarterback combos in the league right now, and you guys are going to tell me whether you want the Sirianni-Hurts configuration over the combinations that I'm going to present to you. And in addition to that, I want you to both rank them. All right? As far as the quarterback-coach combo.
I'm ready for that.
All right? So, listen, this is a nothing football Friday, basically.
It really is.
So, this is your show out there, people. The listeners, you got something to say? Bill is worried in this game about one thing. We talked about it yesterday. So I want to throw it out for all you YouTubers and all you texters and tweeters. Bill is rooting for the Giants to win this game because if he fears if they lose, they will get a really good draft pick to get a quarterback. I can't think of a more irrelevant worry. So I want you to fill in the blank. Bill rooting for the Giants in fear of them developing a quarterback is like blank.
All right, hold on here.
All right?
I got to stick up for myself.
Just play with it. But YouTubers out there, Bill, write this down. Bill rooting for the Giants in fear of them developing a quarterback in this division is like blankety blank, blank, blank. I want some clever responses to this.
All right, I'm looking forward to the responses. However, I'm not scared of that, but I certainly would like to prevent that from occurring. In a meaningless game, why not prevent that from occurring?
Right. Please.
You talk a lot about Joe Shane's job security, about Daboll's job security, about their draft picks. You do have this just, I don't know if it's subconscious fear, concern, worry over what's happening in New York.
Oh, my God. If they get a quarterback, they're going to be viable in the year 2035.
Hey, look at the Commanders. One season, they turned it around. Quarterback changes a lot.
Yeah. You got Jaden Daniels in this year's draft?
Probably not.
610-632-0975. Football Friday, we'll have our selections, and we'll kick it around with various crazy topics today on the Mike Missanelli Show on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Philadelphia 7.
Show. Here's how you get in. 610-632-0975. I'm being asked to get over the fact that Saquon Barkley is not playing on Sunday. And the reason why I can't is because now they've left me with nothing to look forward to for Week 18, Game 17. And therefore, you've left the fans with nothing, which goes all the way back to bang for your buck. When you buy season tickets, I assume you assume the risk that Game 18 won't be worth a hill of beans. And as an advocate of the consumer here, I am imploring the Eagles to then give their ticket holders a rebate if this kind of thing happens. Now, it'll never happen in a million years. When we talk about an owner being an owner for the people, you are now saddling your fan base. Not only have you taken away the possibility for them to witness history with Saquon Barkley setting the all-time record, which they would talk about for the rest of their lives. I was at Lincoln Financial Field when my halfback broke the all-time, took that away from him. And now you give them this team in a meaningless game, and you expect that they have to pay full price. Now, am I being out of line to suggest that the Eagles, as a good management team that would bond with their fans, would possibly say, you know what, we're going to refund the money for this game?
Yeah, I think so. I don't.
Why think so? What? It's out of line?
Yeah, I don't have any problem with it.
Oh, you don't have a problem with it? Well, you're certainly a man of the people.
Well, I don't have a problem with it because, to me, it's similar to what if the Eagles were 4-12 going into this game, and the game meant nothing. Are you giving the tickets away at discounted rate because the game doesn't mean anything?
No, because they're going to play the game. They're not going to play their backups. At 4-12, they're still going to play with their starters.
Well, not always.
Well, but most of the time,
when
the
game
Giants are playing with their starters, are they?
This is a decision that's being made to give yourselves the best chances at a championship.
Okay.
And people are still going to go to the game, and they're still going to watch professional football.
And it's unfair. Are they going to watch professional football, really? That's what they're going to watch?
They're still going to watch professional athletes.
Watching professional football by watching third stringers? Seriously?
Yeah, but it's still professional
Bill,
football.
Stop it.
You can't.
Stop it. Let's get a groundswell support for this here.
Well, here's where I disagree with you.
I care about the people.
It's a slippery slope. How many starters have to play for full price tickets? At what point we're going to discount it 20% because our quarterback's not playing, but we're not going to discount it 50% because our running back's playing? You can't. It's a slippery slope.
It's not a slippery slope because this is an easy call. Clearly, you're not playing anybody in this game. Clearly, you don't care about the outcome of this game. So if it's that clear, give your fans a bone. You're gonna have them schlep down there, pay full price, parking, concessions, ticket to see what? A preseason game?
Essentially, yeah. It's a
okay.
preseason game.
Do we not bitch that they charge full price for a preseason game?
Yeah, I don't always love that they do the preseason full price thing. I just don't see how a team can make a decision to discount tickets when they're already sold.
It's such a hardship. It's really such a hardship when they can just give a rebate in their account. You know, oh my God, you'd have to have a few of the ticket accountant people actually work to push a button to give them a rebate or take that money and put it towards next year's tickets. How about that? Why?
I don't know.
How in the world could you possibly be against an idea that benefits the consumer? What is wrong with you?
Because I guess I'm looking at it as I don't want the team to be reluctant to rest their players for a postseason run because now there's some sort of financial
reluctant to give them back, say, 20% from the purchase price? That's such a hardship for an organization.
Look, the link is still going to be packed on Sunday.
Oh, my God. I can't believe what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Right.
Am I crazy to think they shouldn't have to do that?
I'm trying to advocate for the people here, and I got Mr. Capitalist to my left.
Yeah, you're not really going to get me to stick up for the organization on this one.
So you think they should give a rebate? on Sunday.
Anyone that's watching Tanner McKee versus Drew Lock is probably way too deep in the fandom thing where they've already dropped all that money. You might as well. Like, I be honest with you. When you purchase the Week 18 tickets, there is part of that's on you. That, like, we always, I think every time the schedule comes out, we do, like, W's and L's, everyone at Week 18. Well, that one might not mean anything. Like, you kind of know what you're signing yourself up for, but this is an extra level of slop. The Giants are a disgrace to football, and the Eagles are playing third stringers. I mean, we're going to learn who's on the practice squad for most of, like, the defense now.
And they've already taken away the big carrot.
Well, remember, you're not going to learn who's on the practice squad. You can only elevate 2 practice squad players.
Yeah, and they're going to play.
Yeah, but this is going to be more of the reserves. Like I said, you're going to see Jeremiah Trotter Jr. You're going to see Keely Ringo. You're going to see Isaiah Rodgers. I don't know. Look, I hear what Mike's saying about the fans, but you do buy season tickets knowing there's a chance that the last game doesn't matter.
Here's the question I have for you. How could you possibly be against it? Like, how do you benefit from being against it? I'm trying to help the people out here, and you're the big bad wolf.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Look, if it helps the fans, I'm a man of the people.
What are you, an employee or something?
No, I just don't think that a team should have to do it.
Maybe he's on Sirianni's payroll.
Because you once worked for the Eagles?
No, even if we were talking about the Cowboys and the Commanders, and if the Commanders decided to rest their players and Dallas is playing for nothing, I wouldn't say, oh, yeah, those poor Dallas fans should get their money back. It's a part of what you buy when you get season tickets. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too harsh. Give the tickets away for free.
Wait. The equivalent of what we would see with that Commanders game would be Jeff Driscoll versus Cooper Rush. Do you think everyone should pay full price to watch Jeff Driscoll versus Cooper Rush?
Well, now I think you're insulting Jeff Driscoll and Cooper Rush. You're insulting them. No one should have to pay to see that.
I didn't even drop you all due respect on that one. I didn't have to.
It really shouldn't have anything to do with who the opponent is. You have already taken the Saquon angle away from the people, which would have been unbelievable to be in that stadium for that. You've already taken that away. Boom, that's gone. Now you're saying we're not playing anybody. And then, so these people have to come down there and pay full price for everything. I'm saying, wouldn't it be nice to give them 20% back as a rebate or towards next year's season tickets? And you're saying no.
I will agree with you in that, wouldn't it be nice? I guess I'm looking at it too literally that you can't do that, is what I'm saying.
Why can't you?
Because it's a slippery slope. At what point then are required to give money back?
You're not required at all. You make an arbitrary decision. Okay, here comes Friday. We have announced now we're going to give you 20, but the people that have tickets for this game, you're going to get a 20% rebate. Why? What's the hardship of that?
It just doesn't seem realistic to me, is what I'm saying. It just doesn't seem realistic that a franchise is going to discount tickets based off of a decision of who's playing and who's not playing in the game.
It's a one-time only thing. We might not ever do it again. But for this one, we feel bad that we're keeping Saquon out of this game and he can't pursue that record, because that would have been a really good moment for you folks that have tickets to this game. And on top of that, we're playing our third stringers. We don't even care to win this game. So you're going to see a preseason game. And then, by the way, you're going to still pay $40 for parking, $50 for, I don't even know what it is anymore.
Yeah, I think it's expensive.
You're paying full freight for everything. So, here's a little Christmas gift, New Year's gift for the folks that have supported us royally.
It's a cute idea, Mike, but I just don't think it's possible. I guarantee you there's probably rules against it anyway. There's probably rules where a team can't just decide to discount tickets based off of who's playing in the football game.
There's no rule.
The tickets are already sold.
There's no rule for preseason. You can discount preseason tickets. The reason why they don't do it is that it's all money grab. There's no league rule.
On what the cost of the tickets should be for preseason?
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe you're convincing me. Giving them away for free.
You're a cur, is what you are.
Well, because
to be against a move that would benefit the poor people, you're coming off like some elitist snob.
Well, it's not that I'm against it. I guess I'm looking at it too literally in that, well, how do you do that? You still got to provide.
What do
because
you
you're
care
still.
why would you care how they're going to do it? You don't work for the Eagles.
I understand that, but there are people for that stadium to run efficiently. There are people who need to work. There's concession stands that need to be run. A lot of the parking garages are not, or parking lots are not owned by the Eagles. There's things at play here that affect more than just Jeffrey Lurie's pocket.
What do they control? The ticket price, right? Give them 20% off. I'm not even saying anything about the parking or the concessions. Man, I am stunned.
I guess I'm looking at it too practically.
6320975. This is a man against the people, working with a man for the people. The Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Fanatic Sports Update.
The regular season finale. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. The fully electric EQS sedan from Mercedes-Benz is innovation on a magnificent scale. Available in the epic 56-inch touch-sensitive hyperscreen. The vehicle is all electric. The feeling is all Mercedes. Learn more at mbusa.com/EQS. The Eagles take on the New York Giants Sunday at 1 o'clock down at Lincoln Financial Field. It's going to be a lot of backups for the Eagles and whatever's left for the Giants. Birds are locked into the 2 seed. Giants could use the loss to help their draft position. Of course, the big story of the week has been the Eagles' decision not to play Saquon Barkley, despite him being 101 yards from the rushing record. Brian Westbrook joined us yesterday and talked about how he views going for the record.
There would have been no question about it. I would have went for the record. These types of records, it's lasted 40 years because it's so hard to get to. It's so hard to be healthy. It's so hard to be consistent. And I think Saquon deserved the opportunity. I think the offensive line deserved it. I think the coaching staff deserved the opportunity to go for the record. And I understand the thought process. Hey, you want to be healthy. But he's been healthy all year.
You can hear our entire conversation with Brian Westbrook on our website, 975thefanatic.com. Elsewhere in Philadelphia sports, 2 lousy West Coast performances last night. 76ers lost 139-105 to the Warriors, and the Flyers lost 5-2 to the Golden Knights. I'm Ray Dunn at the home of the 76ers and the Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
2 on the Mike Missanelli Show. I want to read a tweet I just got. A guy named Jules Scaramuzzi. Jules says, "You are far from a man of the people, Mike." And I don't know if he meant you are a man of the people, because then he says, "And I love you." You are far from a man of the people, Mike, and I love you, and I usually agree with you 100%. But of the time, but all you do is argue. I can't believe that you're a lawyer. Wait a minute, the lawyers not argue?
Wait, and what exactly does he disagree with?
Let me just read this again, right? I think he means I am a man of the people, but he says you are far from a man of the people, Mike. And I love you, and I usually agree with you 100% of the time, but all you do is argue. I can't believe that you're a lawyer. I had to turn it off today. Sorry, this is what we have to talk about, Barkley not playing and whining about it? Well, we didn't really talk about that today. I just kind of mentioned it, that I think it's a hardship for the fans that they decided not to play him because it would have been a special moment.
Yeah, I don't know why he's so upset with you.
Let me explain something to you, Jules. This is Sports Talk Radio. And in Sports Talk Radio, we talk about various topics. That happens to be a topic that we were talking about and still can talk about, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I have also brought up other things as a man of the people. I'm trying to give the people a rebate on their damn tickets for this slop of a game on Sunday.
Yeah, I'm surprised that he got so upset about this topic. You know, there's been other things maybe you could get upset about. Maybe he disagreed with you about some of your sports takes. But, yeah, you're trying to be a man of the people. I'm just looking at it too literally, saying I don't think it's possible. But someone did tweet at us that teams are allowed to discount tickets to their fan base. I just don't know how it would be effective, and then where you draw the line, because you're saying this week they're not playing any starters, but what about in previous years? I mean, remember Jeffrey Lurie and Andy Reid.
Listen, forget about previous years, forget about the future.
But you're just looking at it.
Focus on today.
But you're only looking at it because they're not letting Saquon get the record.
I am looking at it like this is a garbage game. And when you have a Week 18 game and you're sitting out your starters, maybe that's the time the owner of the team says, you know, it would be really nice if I gave 20% rebate to my ticket purchasers for this game. And you're against that. It's the most basic consumer rewarded type of mentality, and you're against it.
I'm not against the idea of it, all right? I'm not against the idea of it. I think that it would be nice if the fans that use their hard-earned money to go to games receive some sort of benefit. I just was looking at it more from a practical nature and saying I don't know how you implement something like that.
Why do you care?
Because
how you implement it?
Because
it's not your purview.
But why this game as opposed to another one?
Are you worried about how the Eagles will implement it? Oh my God, Ray. I don't know. You know, these guys, they have to go into the computer system and they would have to do all this kind of thing and push all these kind of buttons to give people a 20% rebate. It's a hardship for the Eagles. I don't know how they're going to implement it. I'm looking at it for the people.
I know what you're looking at it for. And like I said, I'm looking at it too literally that when you buy a ticket, there is no guarantee on that ticket price that you are going to see certain players.
I'm not saying it's a guarantee. I'm saying it's a nice gesture. It's a gesture.
Come on, man. It's capitalism. You really think they care about gestures? They're going to say, you know what? We're going to lose money on this game.
People like you is why the world turns callous. You know, instead of opening your heart to the possibility
now you sound like Jeffrey Lurie.
Giving somebody a benefit in life, you're against it.
I'm not against it. I'm saying practically I don't see how you could implement something like that. That, when our starters don't play, we discount the prices. Because then where does it stop? Where does it stop?
Where does it stop? Why do you care where it stops? You're a consumer.
All right. As a consumer, I agree with you. As a former businessman, I'm looking at it from a businessman's perspective, saying I don't know how I would implement this. Because then things become expected. So now next year, if maybe something happens where we don't have our starters playing in the game, now we got to do it again. It just doesn't work.
You don't have to do it again. You're not setting any kind of precedent. Just feeling good.
You are setting
a
precedent.
You're feeling good about Christmas spirit and the new year and Barkley not playing and you playing your third string and you're saying, you know, it's going to cost these people a lot of money. 20% off the ticket price. They're going to refund their money in their account, or we're going to put it towards next year. And you're against it.
Because this is why
I'm aghast.
Because this is why I'm telling you practically I don't think it works. What if I'm the season ticket holder who bought the tickets at the beginning of the year and I already sold this game? I already sold it. I already used the money. I just spent the money on my Christmas presents. I already sold the tickets to somebody else. Well, now the Eagles want to give me a discount, but I'm going to turn around. Am I going to give that to the person that maybe I charge more to? Practically, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Not every person who's going to this game bought the tickets directly from the Philadelphia Eagles. So that's why I don't think it works. So now I'm going to have to hunt you down and say, I know you got 20% off, Mike. You better give it back to me. Well, Ray, do you see what I'm saying from a practical perspective?
You walk into the building. The person who scans that ticket, someone standing there in fan experience, you get promo code McKee because that's the quarterback you were subjected to watching. You thought when you bought the ticket it might be Hurts. No disrespect to McKee.
So you're saying to give you some like concession money on the ticket?
Not even $20 to something, 20% to something, whether it be the pro shop, a future ticket, whether it be your concessions.
I could get behind that. Maybe they give them a discount at the pro shop.
And maybe it's not Attack McKee. Maybe it's promo code Shipley because you bought the tickets to watch Barkley win the, just something of like, hey.
I like that idea.
You're here.
Yeah, well, 20% at the pro shop because they still then have to buy something at the pro shop.
I like giving them something
free with that 20%.
Something at the game. Some sort of
something discounted.
Concession money or money to the pro shop makes sense to me.
Money off the ticket price.
Well, you can use it to a ticket, or if you're a more immediate impact person, you go down to the pro shop.
I'm getting killed in the YouTube chat.
Well, rightfully so.
Because you're a capitalist pig.
I'm not a capitalist pig.
You are.
In an ideal world, sure, it'd be great if every Eagles fan got to go this Sunday for free. What I'm saying is, from a practical perspective, I don't see how you can discount the tickets now after they've already been sold and resold. Probably multiple times resold.
You have an account. You can easily give them a rebate in the account. Everything's done by computer.
Anyway,
I'm done. I'm done.
Moving on.
Okay, well, I'm trying to stand up for the people here, and I got the Fed, the bank Fed man over here.
That's me now.
Let's go, Rich in North Philly. Start things off. Rich, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Rich.
Hi, Mike. How you doing?
Good, Rich.
I think that you can start out. You can have people, because everybody's been rooting for Saquon to break this record. So I think you start out giving everybody say their tickets for this game. Then you have it give them next. Then for tickets next season, you give them some kind of discount, something like that.
Yeah, it's all something. Reach out to them. Hey, 20% off.
Right.
This ticket price, we're going to refund 20% off the price.
I think you absolutely are a man of the people, because only a man of the people will make this argument.
I know, and I'm working with a cur.
But I wanted to say, I love Seth Joyner, man. Seth Joyner is just a definition of a man's man to me. I heard him. He was on Instagram, I believe. I'm not sure what he was on, or was it either YouTube? He said, "Thinking you're gonna get hurt before you go try to break a record is a loser's mentality."
I saw his tweet. Well, I haven't worked with Seth for 2 years on a post-game show. I knew exactly what his stance would be on that.
Yeah, not a surprise.
He also tweeted out, how come these wide receivers, when they run a pattern, have to come out of the game? Like, they can't be in shape enough to get back in the huddle for the next play? And I go, come on, Seth, you run a pattern. It's like, okay, I want to keep my wide receiver fresh for the next pattern, so maybe he needs a blow for the next play. That's the object of it. Not that they're not in shape.
That is the epitome of G.I. Joe.
Yeah, he is. with the kung fu grip.
But that was all I got for you, Mike, man. Have a good day, man. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you, Rich.
Seth. Yeah, one thing, you always know where Seth's going to go with his opinions, for sure.
Yeah. It's the macho opinion. He's a macho man.
Yeah.
Seth. But I did see both that. I saw that tweet he was just talking about, but I also saw why these wide receivers have to check out of the game after they run a long pattern. Are they in shape enough to run back and get back in the huddle? Go on. Suppose you call the next play for him, and maybe he is a little gassed. You're not going to get the best out of him, right? So you give him a blow, and then you put him in for the next play.
But I got that earlier in the season from one of my buddies, my college quarterback actually, who's a Giants fan. Saquon had a long run, and Saquon usually takes himself out of the game after a long run. He's like, that annoyed me so much for 6 years when he was in New York. Every time he had a long run, he takes himself out of the game. I don't know. I don't have a problem with it. You got to stay fresh.
Yeah, because if you want to run the next play and he's just a little winded, that might be the difference between that play succeeding or not succeeding. It's a different league.
It is a different league.
They're in shape, believe me.
By the way,
they do a lot of shape work.
Talking about Saquon. So we played last week, Eric Dickerson basically saying he didn't want Saquon to break his record and even said, he had more games than me. Well, now that Saquon is not playing, Eric Dickerson is saying, I'm a big fan of Saquon. Records are meant to be broken.
Yeah,
he's changing his tune a little bit now.
Of course, now he's safe.
Yeah, now he's safe, so he's the nice guy.
He's magnanimous.
He says, as running backs, we got to stick together because they're always trying to break us down. Oh, no, that's from LaShawn McCoy. I'm sorry. LaShawn McCoy said that, and then he responded to LaShawn, I'm a Saquon fan. I'm glad to see him in Philadelphia. I'm glad to see him get 2,000 yards. And then he goes on to say, I've always said OJ got it in 14, and I got it in 15. That's not me. I'll never hate on another running back. Yes, you did. You were hating a little bit last week.
I was a big Eric Dickerson fan, but he ran differently than almost any running back
Straight
I've ever
up.
seen. Yeah, he ran high legs like a horse.
Yeah, similar to Derrick Henry a little bit. Henry, I think, is a little more maybe physical. I didn't.
Yeah, he's definitely more physical.
But they both run straight up.
Yeah.
Which is
with legs high.
Yeah, which you weren't really taught.
Yeah, normally, that's an injury waiting to happen. You run legs high, your knee is in perfect view of getting smashed. But he pulled it off. He was a dynamic player. Brandon in Philly, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Brandon.
Hey, guys, I'm riding down 76, just pulled over for the third time, throwing up, listening to Ray's Capitalism.
Bill, that's Bill.
Whoa, no, it was
that's
Ray.
Bill's capitalism.
Yeah, you're right, Brandon. It was all Ray.
It was not Ray's capitalism.
It was Bill's.
Sorry, but yeah, Bill, I don't understand. You're having a hard time. You're using the left side of your brain coming up to why the fans shouldn't get a treat. The loyal fan base of Philadelphia. I don't understand. What are you, Jeffrey Lurie's nephew here? I'm trying to figure out what's happening.
Now I'm Lurie's nephew. I was just looking at it maybe too practically. Of course, I would love if the fans got a discount because the tickets are probably overpriced, especially for a meaningless Week 18 game where none of your starters are playing. I was looking at it practically, saying I think it's a slippery slope if you start to do this because where does it stop? And then there becomes an expectation that when starters aren't playing that you want a discount. And maybe it's a game that does matter, but maybe Jalen Hurts is, I don't want to pay for that game. I just think it creates an expectation, and it's an impractical thing to do.
I see where you're coming from, but we're not the Miami Dolphins. We're Philadelphia Eagles fans, man. We've never been given a treat like that, so it would be great. And I don't think because we're such a loyal fan base and a smart fan base, I don't think we would lead to expect that year after year. Before you let me go, I just want to say this. As an Eagles fan, lifetime, I'm actually embarrassed that we're not going for the Saquon record. I'm not going to harp on that. But is there any percentage of chance that Nick Serriani wakes up tomorrow and says, you know what, guys, that's it, let's do it?
No. None.
Wait, you ruined my Friday.
None. There's no chance of that.
It's funny because we were joking around yesterday saying that today's topic was going to be, will Nick Sirianni change his mind? 610. No, not happening. The fact that they announced it, they made this decision last week. I know they hemmed and hawed about when he told us. This decision was made the moment they took Saquon out of that Cowboys game. The goal was 2,000 yards, and once they got it, it was over.
And now you'll never know what could have happened. You'll never know. The golden moment you let just float away like cigarette smoke on a windy day.
Man, the visuals.
Whoosh. Gone. Never
Thankfully,
get it
we don't
back.
live in
Never
what
get
ifs.
it back ever again. It's gone forever in your lifetime and your children's lifetime and your grandchildren's lifetime. The moment has passed you, and it was right there for you. It was right there for you to grab.
Too many assumptions being made by you. Too many assumptions that, one, he gets 101. I know it's probable, but it wasn't a guarantee. Two, that nobody gets hurt. But more importantly, three, that the rest wasn't worth it. That this team, who hasn't had a bye week since week 5, could go 17 straight weeks without a bye week and win the Super Bowl. You're making too many assumptions over a record that was not the ultimate goal when you came into the
Boy,
season.
they better not lose to the Packers.
Yeah, that's going to sting if that was to happen. That would sting. But see, here
They lose to the Packers. This Saquon conversation comes back all over again with us.
people would be furious. Yeah, people would be furious that they rested the starters, didn't go after the record. And it's going to be Green Bay. I mean, there's a chance it's the Commanders, but that would require the Commanders to lose to the Cowboys, which I don't think is going to happen. In fact, we got our NFL picks coming up at 12:30. Little teaser, the Commanders may be one of my picks.
Oh, that's one of your picks, huh? All right, let's go to the text board. We got some text on Bill and the text on the ticket prices.
Yeah, so
Ray?
I'll start with the Giants Bill fandom here. Joe from Jersey. Bill's too influenced by his college friend group text.
Possibly.
Is Bill's cousin not playing? Oh, Bill's Giants fandom is like Bill's cousin not playing Saquon in fear of him getting hurt. Cowardly meathead. And we got one more jumping in on this one. Giants don't have a chance in hell, even if they pick Tom Brady. That organization sucks. They need an offensive and defensive line and a coach. P.S. Stick your nipples back in. No one wants to see that. Stick with the original bet.
All right. So on the other side of this, as we go into the 11 o'clock hour, we're going to have to strap Bill down maybe for this. Ray, in fact, you might see the desk in front of Bill rise when we go through this exercise of the story that was written today by Reuben Frank, lauding and just bragging about the merits of the Philadelphia Eagles head coach. That will lead into another discussion in the 11 o'clock hour on whether the Eagles have the perfect combination of coach and quarterback. And we're going to go through the league to compare all of that. 610-632-0975. The Mike Missanelli Show continues right here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Regular season finale. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, coming January 25th. The biggest fighting event ever to hit Philadelphia, Knuckle Mania 5 from Bare Knuckle Fighting Championships, Saturday, January 25th at Wells Fargo Center. The Eagles take on the New York Giants Sunday at 1 o'clock down at Lincoln Financial Field. It's going to be a lot of backups for the Eagles and whatever is left for the Giants. Birds locked into the 2 seed. Giants could use a loss to help their draft position. Of course, the big story of the week has been the Eagles' decision not to play Saquon Barkley despite him being 101 yards away from the single-season rushing record. Brian Westbrook joined us yesterday to talk about how he views going for that record.
There would have been no question about it. I would have went for the record. These types of records, it's lasted 40 years because it's so hard to get to. It's so hard to be healthy. It's so hard to be consistent. And I think Saquon deserved the opportunity. I think the offensive line deserved it. I think the coaching staff deserved the opportunity to go for the record. And I understand the thought process. Hey, you want to be healthy. But he's been healthy all year.
You can listen to that full conversation with Brian Westbrook on our website, 975thefanatic.com. Elsewhere in Philly, 2 lousy West Coast performances last night. 76ers lost 139-105 to the Warriors. The Flyers lost 5-2 to the Golden Knights. I'm Ray Donovan, the home of the 76ers and the Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Friday on the Mike Missanelli Show. We'll have our fearless selections coming up this hour. Not that we can be any more accurate with what we're going to be picking because we have no idea who's playing. This is a tough week, man. I'm desperate.
Yeah, it is a tough week.
What to throw in there.
Yeah,
There's a lot of people that cover the Eagles that are picking the Giants in this game.
I told you I'm rooting for the Giants.
I know.
I want to see them mess up their draft. Why not? Like you say, that's a fear. Like I'm scared. It's not scared. It's just like, why wouldn't you want to see the teams in your division do things that actually hurt them in the long run?
God, they're so pathetic. I can't imagine you would want to hurt them more. They're ready for rock bottom. You want to stomp on them?
No, yes. I mean, not that you're stuck. That's why I want them to win. Let them drop in the draft order. Make it more difficult for them to go up and get a good quarterback. Why
Drew
not?
Lock plays so well that they're like, you know what?
There we go. That would be even better. Drew Lock goes off, and they're thinking, you know what? Maybe we do have the quarterback of the future here already.
Yeah. Also, last night, I got to give a tribute. We got to play it. We got to play it, Ray. We got to play the team that won last night in the college football playoffs in New Orleans. There you go, all you Notre Damers. I know you're all hyped up. Notre Dame versus Penn State, the public hate bowl, where you get haters on each side, but more haters against Penn State. The Irish will be out this week, salivating that they can beat Penn State. And what I saw last night, they're pretty good. They're slight favorite over Penn State in that game at 1.5. Ray got his wish. Ray and Bill, both haters of Penn State, got their wish that they're playing Notre Dame. Don't even veil it, Ray. You're loving the fact that Notre Dame could beat Penn State,
or that Penn State beats Notre Dame. Like you don't realize how great this is.
You hate Notre Dame too?
Yes.
Yeah, but here's the problem, Ray. You're going to feel good when the one team loses, but then you're going to feel really bad that the winning team's in the national championship.
Will I?
I don't know. Like, are you really going to want to see Notre Dame in a national championship? I'm rooting for Penn State.
Here's what I see, folks. I'm going to be honest. Notre Dame could win the game. Penn State's got better skill position people. Notre Dame's quarterback's very mediocre, except when he runs out of the pocket. Their offense really isn't that good. Their defense is really good. Their defense flies around. Their defense is really fast. So it'll be a matter of a better quarterback going against a really good defense, and he's got the benefit of 3 better skill players, 2 running backs and a tight end.
Yeah, but Penn State looked good last week. I know they played Boise State, but they looked good. What was it, Saturday night? When was that game? I'm trying to remember now. Everything's running together.
That was Tuesday night.
It was New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
This week is weird that today's even doesn't feel like a Friday.
Yeah, and the game will be on Thursday.
And the game's Thursday.
Next game.
Penn State can win this game, Mike. I think what you're doing, your Negadelphia hatred.
No, I'm not. No,
you
I'm
are
not.
that in Penn State.
I watched the game last night.
You are Nega State.
No, I'm not Nega State. Notre Dame has a really good defense, and they lead the college football in turnovers. So they're a big turnover getting defense, and if Penn State turns the ball over, they could be in trouble in this game. They have the better skill players, but if they turn it over, and you're going to give Notre Dame Georgia gave them easy points last night, including a 92-yard kickoff return to start the third quarter, which took the starch out of that whole game. But I like the way Notre Dame flies around on defense, and their defense is actually coached by the former head coach at Temple University.
Who, Golden?
Al Golden.
Yeah, he was. Wait, was Golden? No, that was Rule, right? Who coached Hassan Reddick and those guys.
Yeah.
Golden was long before that.
Golden
saved the program.
Golden had decent success at Temple. He got a big job in Miami.
Yeah, he left and went to Miami. So that was always the problem with Temple football, though. The moment anyone has any success, they leave.
Now, Golden
that's so bad. You have good seasons.
Golden also has a Penn State pedigree.
Yeah, but Temple can't keep a good coach. There's nothing keeping them here.
As for most programs around this country, if you have success,
most mediocre program.
most programs that are at the level that Temple's at.
Yeah.
which Ray is refusing to admit is a mediocre program.
Which is the reality of the situation that they're a group of 5 school.
Listen, you Irish fans, hey, should be a good game. A lot of Irish chirpers on social media last night saying they're going to crush any of these two teams would crush Penn State. I'm watching the Georgia Notre Dame game. Any of these two teams would crush Penn State, including our pal Kincade, who couldn't wait to stick his nose in there last night. Penn State hater that he is. Oh, these two teams are flying around. I go, both their offenses stink. Well, I don't know what you're looking at. These two teams are flying around. Georgia blows.
I thought Georgia, I thought they had a shot.
I really do.
They were down by.
To win that with a backup quarterback and no offensive line?
When Notre Dame was up by 10, got the ball down to the 30 and decided to kick a field goal, I thought that was going to be a mistake. I thought they should have tried to go for it because it kept it a 2-score game by kicking the field goal. And then Georgia comes right down the field. I'm like, all right, here we go. They're going to change the momentum. And the drive stalled in the red zone, and that was it. It was over.
Hey, all you pasty leggers out there with the fighting little Irish leprechaun on your calf, make sure you wear the shorts all week.
I'll tell you, I got a text today at 9:30.
I'm sure you did.
Kevin Cooney wanted me to launch into the fight song to start the show.
All you Northeast Irishmen, get out the shorts this week. I want to see the tat.
Yeah, he's in the YouTube chat right now saying go ND.
All right. Let's start it off here with what I think is a really interesting situation here that affects Bill Colarulo. As you know Bill as maybe a relative of Nick Sirianni. He's been chirping the virtues of Nick Sirianni for a long time now, but I believe he has been outdone by a certain media member in this town that you see sometimes on the Eagles post-game show, and he writes a column for NBC Sports Philadelphia. His name is Reuben Frank, affectionately known as Rube.
Spelled R-O-O-B, even though his name is R-E-U-B.
Correct. Now, number one, this is a story on Nick Sirianni. These are 12, the headline is 10 different ways to measure Nick Sirianni's success as a head coach. Are you ready, Bill?
Oh, no, let's read one line from the beginning before you get into the 10.
Go ahead.
Love him or hate him, the numbers are incredible.
Right,
so
Bill,
much good.
I just want to know, do you have your tight pants on?
Woo!
Tighten the pants.
The numbers are incredible.
Bill, tighten the pants.
I'm the smartest coach in the world.
Here we go with number one. Sirianni's 47 wins are tied for second most in NFL history by a head coach in his first 4 years.
Hell yeah.
Only George Seifert of the 49ers won 52 games his first 4 years.
Yeah, I'm assuming George Seifert was it Steve Young or Joe Montana?
You don't have to comment.
Either way.
You don't have to comment on any of this. Number two, Sirianni's career winning percentage of .702 is the fifth highest in NFL history, behind 4 Hall of Fame coaches. Guy Chamberlain in the 20s, John Madden with the Raiders, Vince Lombardi with the Packers, George Allen with the Rams and Washington.
So much good.
You okay? You still okay over
I'm
there?
struggling over here.
You're all right. We're only at 2. Hold it down, Bill. We might need oxygen. All right, number 3. Sirianni's .702 winning percentage is the 15th highest ever by a coach in his first 4 years with a new team.
All he does is win, Ray. That's all he does.
Hell yeah.
Here are the names that have also done that. Joe Gibbs, George Seifert, Chuck Knox, George Allen, Blanton Collier, Matt LaFleur, Don Shula. Number 4, Sirianni is only one of 3 Eagles coaches with 4 total winning seasons.
How crazy is that, though? Think about that for a second. The entire history of the franchise, there's only 3 coaches who've had 4 total winning seasons. That's incredible.
You know
I'm the smartest coach in the world.
You know who they are?
Well, I know because I read the article. It's
Greasy Neal, Walt Kiesling, Andy Reid.
incredible.
Number 5. The Eagles' 702 winning percentage since Sirianni became head coach in 2021 is the third best in franchise history in any non-overlapping 4-year period. Boy, he's really cutting it. He's cutting the garlic with a razor blade here, for crying out loud. All right, number 6. Sirianni joins Dick Vermeil and Andy Reid as the third Eagles coach to reach the postseason at least 4 times.
You know what the best part is? He's done it in all 4 years. The only coach to do that to start his career as a head coach.
Number 7, Serriani and Greasy are the only Eagles head coaches whose teams have had multiple single-season winning streaks of at least 8 games.
And he set the franchise record this year with 10.
Hell yeah.
Buck Shaw, 9 straight. Dick Vermeil, 8. Andy Reid, 9. Doug Peterson, 9. Number 8, Sirianni's 702 winning percentage. He brought this winning percentage up 5 times. Sirianni's 702 winning percentage is the highest among active NFL coaches. Do you know the next 4 with the highest?
I know Matt LaFleur's up there.
Matt LaFleur, 677. Jim Harbaugh, 681. Kevin O'Connell, 680. Sean McDermott, 662. Number 9, Bill. You ready? We only have 2 left.
Sure.
Yeah,
I'm not sure I'm going to make it.
You going to be okay?
It's so exciting.
Don't get up, Bill, and walk through the sales department right now. Number 9, Sirianni is the first Eagles coach who hasn't had a losing streak of at least 4 games at any point in his first 4 years.
That is impressive, though. I mean, you got to admit, to be able to keep things together. I know people like to say that Sirianni doesn't do anything. That's a pretty impressive thing.
So much good. Hell yeah.
And
I'm the
finally,
smartest coach in the world.
Can I get a drum roll finally for number 10?
Do I have to do it?
That's all right.
Ray's looking for it.
We're looking for a drum roll. We don't need a drum roll. It's all right. Number 10. Sirianni is only the 6th character.
There it is.
What?
All right. Sirianni is only the 6th coach in NFL history to take his first 4 teams to the playoffs. The first 5 were Paul Brown, Chuck Knox, John Robinson, Bill Cowher, and John Harbaugh. Ladies and gentlemen, there it is. The Bible of Sirianni. I know people.
I'm the smartest coach in the world.
That's amazing. I'm flopping. Now he's my favorite coach of all time at those numbers.
See, what's great about all this is I don't ever give myself any credit, ever. And I was fighting the good fight all summer long here, Mike, before you joined us. I was fighting the good fight all summer, talking about how Nick Sirianni deserved to come back, that it would have been the right decision to bring him back, that it would have been a knee-jerk reaction to what happened last season for a multitude of factors of why they struggled down the stretch, to blame it all on the head coach. And look where we are now. We got 10 unbelievable stats about maybe the best coach in the NFL, maybe the coach of the year in the NFL. It's just nice to be right every once in a while.
I want to laud Reuben Frank, who I know probably stayed up into the wee hours of the morning, lit only with a Sirianni oil lamp as he was doing his research.
People on
for this particular
people on YouTube are saying, I need a cigarette. That was a very exciting thing. To hear Mike have to go through all 10 of those, I feel like I've been battling this for months. And to hear you have to read all of those incredible stats.
You see Cupid flying through the air. Like, here it is. There's Bill with Reuben Frank. They're flying through the air with the Cupid arrow. 610-632-0975. A little later this hour. It's a big hour, too. We might have to save this to the 12 o'clock hour. Bill Colarulo is now a seasoned radio professional.
Oh, that's correct.
However, today is the anniversary of Bill's first show talking on the 97.5 airways.
That is
It was
correct.
kind of like an audition show. And we're going to go back to Bill's first show
Oh, boy.
to see how he handled it. Voice inflection, nervousness, whether he was talking about Serriani back then. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. The Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Vacation? Business trip?
We got a big game on Sunday. A lot of people picking the Giants. Giants, really. I'm Brian Dable. He doesn't give a whit about the draft pick because he's going to be gone, so he wants to win the game, go out with a W. It probably will. They'll put the heat on poor Tanner McKee. He's going to have to use his Stanford brain to manage his way through this game, Bill.
Maybe he has a good game, Tanner.
You know, the fantasy football people are saying you better hop on Kenny Gainwell as a choice in this game. Now, you're saying, no. You might get the other kid.
I just think it would make sense for the Eagles. Kenny Gainwell is a part of the offense. Even with Saquon, we've seen that Kenny Gainwell comes in. It may be just a couple of touches, but he's important to the offense. I don't think you beat him into the ground in this football game. I think you go with the young guys, Will Shipley, and maybe bring up the practice squad running back.
Jahan Dotson game?
Dotson will probably get a lot of burn.
Stick him in your fantasy football?
Well, I would think.
The Jahan Dotson day?
Aren't most fantasy football leagues over by now?
You have a competent commissioner.
Yeah, I think there are some that go the whole season.
Is yours over, Ray?
Yeah, mine's over. We don't have a competent commissioner.
How'd you do?
Well, the one that I always identify with, the high school one, I've been in the league for 12 years. I have the most regular season wins of anyone. And this year, again, I had a great season, got to the playoffs. I've never won a playoff game.
Oh, really?
This
Never
where you
once.
paired up with some lady?
Oh, the couples one. Yeah, we made the championship. Lost the championship.
The couples,
she did a great job. Drafted a good team. Yeah, great.
Nice.
Great work by us.
All right, let's get to the phones. And, the Priceless Bill first show is coming up. So let's first talk to our next caller. His name is Ish. There is a 40% chance that he's actually on the other end of the line. Let's see. Ish in Levittown.
Hello?
Hello, Ish.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, Ish. Yesterday you called. We go to you, and it's an empty telephone line. Now, why do you do that to us? What you get?
No.
Do you get
I'm
glee
sorry,
out of that?
No. I actually fell asleep. I'm sorry about that. And I seen the phone hung up. I'm like, didn't I call the show? But yeah, I'm sorry about that. I didn't mean to do that.
So we put you to sleep-ish? That may be worse.
No. I was tired and I called the show. I don't know why. I was just knocked out. That's it.
All right. Go ahead.
But first, I agree with Bill. Bill, you're totally right about this. The Eagles aren't a charity case. They can't be giving away free tickets or discounts. You bought a season ticket, and this is the game that you get. Even if you pay for preseason tickets, you have a choice and an option to get the tickets that you want. If you got to play the rest of the games, and the players aren't playing. So I agree with Bill. And Jeffrey Lurie has to make his money. And
wait, hold on one second. You don't have an option when you buy the tickets. Those preseason, you have to buy those preseason tickets as well.
Yeah, but it's too late. It's week 18, so we might as well just say next year we might as well give the Eagles fans a rebate or a discount. No, you pay for the game that you want to see, and it's Nick Seriani's going to be coaching. There's going to be other players. The people want to see Nick, and they want to see the other players play. So I agree with
there ain't nobody who wants to go to that game to see other players play. Nobody.
Maybe you're right. No, I don't.
Where's Ish? Where are you?
No, I agree. I agree with Bill.
Okay.
Yeah, it's always. I'm always on the right side of the argument. Listen, what Ish is talking about, for those who are just joining in, is Mike feels that the team should consider refunding a percentage of the ticket prices this weekend, since the game is a meaningless game and they're not playing out of the starters. And my point was, as much as I would love to see the fans save money on the game, I think from a practical perspective, it's not possible. Look, I'm a season ticket holder to the Flyers. I pay for the tickets. But then there are times where I may sell the tickets, where you transfer them to somebody, but the person will Venmo you money. So if the Flyers refunded me a portion of that ticket price, but I've already sold it, what happens then? What if I don't give the money to the person who bought it? Now that person is going to come and say, hey, you got a refund. No, I didn't get a refund for your game. I got a refund because I'm a season ticket holder. It opens up a can of worms. That's why I said it's a slippery slope. It's not practical. Great idea, Mike. I'm a man of the people as well. I just don't think it's possible to do it in the way you are saying. Now, Ray is saying if you go to the game, maybe they should give you some sort of discount on your ticket for concessions or the pro shop.
No, I'm fine. You get discount to whatever you want within the entity. Tickets included in that. Don't take away the tickets part.
He's got a tweet from Mike English. He said, after they won the East on Sunday, while still driving home, they charged us for the wild card weekend before I even got home.
Exactly, because he's a season ticket holder.
Okay, most of the people are.
But if he had sold his tickets previously to this game and did it via Venmo or whatever the hell he used, and then the Eagles refunded him money for this week's game, is he obligated to now turn around and give the people he sold the tickets to 20% back?
If he wants to.
All right, and if he doesn't that still defeat the point you're trying to make, saying the people who are going to the game should receive a discount? Well, not in this case.
Okay, but guess what? That guy's been a loyal season ticket buyer for how many years? He's not entitled to one little perk like that?
Maybe he is, but what about the poor soul who already bought the tickets from him?
The poor soul I feel sorry for. All right? I feel sorry for him. But the season ticket guy who's put all this money out all these years with a personal C license got a little bone back.
It's not practical. It's a great idea.
I love the fact that you're worried about the Eagles.
I'm just worried about
it's not practical for the Eagles to do this kind of thing. I love that. I love that corporate mentality of yours.
Corporate.
They only have 500 and some employees that can do this very easily. But you're worried about them, the logistics.
They can't do it.
Let's go to Malik and Ben Salem. Malik, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Malik.
Hey, good morning, guys.
What's up, Malik?
So, just one last thing about the whole Saquon Barkley issue, and I didn't get a chance to call him yesterday, but look at all the best coaches in the league, the Andy Reids, the Mike Tomlins, the LaFleur. They all would do the exact same thing. They all would sit their starters and rest them up for that game.
How do you know that?
Because historically, that's what they've always done.
Historically, when was there ever a rushing record at stake?
Historically, never. I don't think.
Okay, well then you don't have an argument. You're taking the argument saying yes, they would rest their players because they're going into the playoffs. I'm adding the special circumstance. There is an all-time record at stake. It's not the same thing.
It's nice, but that's all it is. It's a record.
What are you talking about? It's nice. It's an all-time record.
Okay, here's an analogy for you. Joel Embiid, everyone was clamoring for years about he needs to win his MVP. And, man, he needs to get his credit because he's been the best in the league. And he finally won his MVP a couple of years ago. Does anybody care? Because the Sixers didn't win. No one cares that, the process was pretty much a failure, but at least Embiid
is an MVP an all-time record? See, this is the thing people don't do. It's not an all-time record. It's just an MVP. The all-time record for rushing yards in a season, you equate to just winning an MVP?
Yes, I do, because it's just a record.
Come on, stop it. You're being ridiculous.
Mike,
It's not just a record. It's an all-time record, and you're not equating it in that venue.
But how does that help me as a fan?
Because it's something that your player has and can hold for almost 40 years. Your guy did it. You witnessed it. You were with him every game when he set that record. It's not an MVP. It's more special than an MVP. Come on, people. Stop it with the comparison. Well, any coach would have rested. Yeah, any coach would have rested his team for the playoffs. There's an all-time record at stake. It's different. The criteria is different.
See, if it was an all-time record of, let's say, consecutive starts, it's a no-brainer Saquon Barkley starts in the game. This record would have required everyone on the offensive side of the football to play. That's why you can't do it. That's why Sirianni and the Eagles organization made the right decision. It was more than just Saquon that would have had to have played to try to get the record. And you can't do that. So what?
They
got a playoff
would have
game
been
coming up.
engaged in getting a record. It would have been something they would always hold on to, that they were a part of it. You think that they would have not cared about that?
Of course they would have cared about it. But I think the right decision was made.
The right decision was prudent. The right decision was conservative. It wasn't the right decision overall. The right decision would have been to go for both. 610-632-0975. Mike Missanelli Show continues. Nick Sirianni at 11:40 right here. That's right. The coach, 10 different ways to measure Nick Sirianni's success as a head coach. Historic proportions for the head coach of your Philadelphia Eagles, and we'll hear him at 11:40. We're back after this.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Regular season finale. I'm Ray Dunn, and this update is brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off. The Eagles take on the New York Giants Sunday at 1 o'clock down at Lincoln Financial Field. It is the final game of the regular season. A lot of backups expected for the Birds and whatever is left over there for the Giants. Eagles locked into the 2 seed at this point. Giants could use the loss to help out their draft position. Ironically, a lot of people picking the Giants to win this football game because, again, Eagles going to have a lot of backups out there. Of course, big story of the week, Eagles' decision not to play Saquon Barkley despite him being 101 yards from the rushing record. We had Brian Westbrook, a former Philadelphia Eagles running back, on with us yesterday talking about that record. You can listen to that one more time on our website, 975thefanatic.com. Elsewhere in Philadelphia sports, a couple of lousy West performances out west last night for the 76ers and Flyers. The Sixers losing 139-105 to the Warriors, and the Flyers losing 5-2 to the Golden Knights. I'm Ray Dunn on the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Show, 97.5 The Fanatic. All right, Serriani is coming up at 11:40. This is also the anniversary of Bill Colarulo's Audition show. He was on with Connor Thomas. First time you took the airways, you were on with Connor Thomas.
Yeah, for Philly Sports Tonight. Came in at 6 o'clock to do a night show.
A veteran here, of course. Connor as your mentor. Right? All right, so Connor goes on for what, like 8 minutes without mentioning you?
Yeah. We start the show. Connor's a great dude, but we start the show. Doesn't mention me for an extended period of time. And then I think he says I'm there and then still doesn't go to me. And I'm sitting there like, I'm supposed to be auditioning. How are they going to know if I can even do this if I'm not allowed to speak?
All right, so do we have that, Ray?
Yeah, here we go.
All right, so this is the Connor opening. All right, this is Connor opening up, and he's
not even open. We got minutes into this before we got a first mention of Bill being in.
All right, so Bill's sitting down with Connor. This is his first gig on the radio, and here's how it goes.
There's a lot to break down, so we're going to get into all of that. Tom Alvord on the board as always, and to my left, Bill Colarulo joins the program for tonight. He's going to be with us from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., so we'll get Bill's thoughts on everything that's going on with the Eagles as well. And that seemed exactly what A.J. Brown was doing, and that's what he just confirmed. So everyone who said he was a diva.
Yeah, that went on for a while.
Okay. So no Bill yet. However, Bill does get involved here, and this is the first time on the airwaves that Bill talks about Nick Sirianni.
It makes no sense to take criticism of Nick Sirianni and turn it into he needs to be out of here a year after taking his team to the Super Bowl and following that up with at least 11 wins.
Yeah, and I don't think it would be an overreaction if they made a change at offensive coordinator.
No,
I don't know if they will. I think it'll depend on what we see over the next couple of weeks. We talked about stats and how they could be construed any way you want them. They may look at the stats at the end of the season and say, hey, this offense did okay. I disagree. But I would be fine with them moving on from both coordinators. I just agree with you. Sometimes the devil you know is worse than the devil you don't know. And for them to make a move at head coach to look at the year they did hire Doug Peterson. Nobody thought that was a good hire.
Right.
Everybody wanted Ben McAdoo. How'd that work out for the New York Giants? Then the New York Giants get Joe Judge. How'd that work out? Now they have Brian Dable, who I thought was a great coach. I still think is a good coach, but look at the year they're having. So I'm okay with Nick Sirianni, but yes, things need to be better, no doubt. But overreaction if we tried to move on from him now.
Look at that. The guy's been consistent. He's been consistent.
There it is. He was an advocate of keeping Sirianni and zipping the coordinators.
Consistent also to the point of the devil that you know
That's
might
right.
not be worse.
He's used that many times.
And the Giants' concern. There he is, laying out concerns for the Giants organization, his first hour on the air.
What you see is what you get, Ray. I don't change. I walked out of here, the phone rang, and they said, please come do our weekend show.
Oh, my God. You must have been in a minority back then.
Yeah.
People that wanted him zipped.
Oh, they definitely did. I got to give Ray some credit for finding that audio, though.
You sounded a little higher pitched. Your voice is a little higher back then.
Oh, he took the Jack Buck recommendation.
I've been smoking for a while.
Siggy's and Jack.
Man, that was I was a little nervous because I couldn't remember what I said. I was nervous I was going to say, they need to fire him.
That was the day A.J. Brown finally spoke.
It was.
The day you came on there was the day that A.J. Brown broke his silence.
Oh, yeah. You remember that last year, Mike?
After he walked out of the locker room?
When A.J. wouldn't speak to
he walked out of
reporters.
the locker room.
The night of my audition was when he finally spoke to reporters for the first time.
All right, so that was your audition. What feedback did you get after that audition? You remember it?
I don't remember feedback. I just remember then agreeing to do Saturday and Sunday mornings, and I did my first Saturday morning show, which is me hosting by myself. Yeah, January 27th.
So you were mentored by the wily veteran Connor Thomas, and then you were ready for your new show.
Yeah, came in, auditioned, and then a few weeks later, January 27th, started hosting on weekends. And then look at the year, man. A few months later, they want me to be with Mike Missanelli and Ray Dunn. You believe this?
Bill also went X and O's in that thing. We'll get to that a little bit later. Is this the time we give our selections? before we get to Serriani, or are you going to hold on to those?
12:30 usually, right? Right?
Oh, is it 12:30 we do that?
12:30, yeah.
Oh, see, I forget. We haven't done it so long. We
Been
didn't
a
do it
while.
last week.
You didn't do it.
I didn't do it
Yeah,
last week.
yeah, we did. I went 2-1 last week.
Did you?
So I'm up to 35, 15, and 1 on the year.
Is my Notre Dame pick of last night on the air count? You know, I picked Notre Dame.
We should give you credit.
I took Notre Dame. Can I get a credit for that, Ray?
Am I the commissioner?
My first,
sure, yeah, why not?
That was my first selection.
That was good.
All right.
All right, you're 1-0 for the week.
See that? I'm not anti-Irish. Let's go to T Love on a cell. T Love, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. T Love.
Hey, what's up, fellas?
What's up, T Love?
Hey, listen, my fandom, man, the heart. I've been stabbed in the heart of my fandom for this team. How can you not? I don't understand. Any fan of the Philadelphia Eagles would want him to get that record. I mean, when you talk about what this record means, I mean, it's historical. In the city of brotherly love, man, in a town where the birthplace of the nation, man, where history was made, you should want this record. I understand the logic. But what does logic have to do with fandom? Okay? It's crazy to me why they wouldn't want to go for this record. See, now that puts more pressure on them to win the Super Bowl. You have to win the Super Bowl now. When you look back, if you don't do better than at least going to the Super Bowl, that's all people are going to talk about. They're not going to talk about what a great season this was. This is one of the greatest Eagles seasons in history. But nobody's going to give a damn if they don't at least.
Well,
make it to the
I
Super Bowl.
don't know if they have to win the Super Bowl. They could lose the Super Bowl to a better team, and I think people would understand if they lost in the early rounds. Like if they lose the first game to Green Bay, oh man, that's going to hurt.
Oh yeah. Well, what I'm saying, Mike, is that you have to get there. That's what I should have said. You have to get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but
Now,
T-Love, don't you agree, though, that giving your guys a bye that you would not have otherwise had gives you a better chance to get there? This team hasn't rested since week 5, man.
Maybe not, Bill.
I understand.
That's not a given.
I understand the logic, fellas, but I'm talking about fandom right now. I'm talking about historic. When you talk to the TikTok Facebook generation, unless you're over 40, this record probably means nothing to you because it's been standing the whole time since you were born and whatever. But I've watched those other guys get that record. That's like hitting 700 and whatever home runs. It's a big record watching a guy get 50 touchdown passes or 5,000 yards. Those are supreme records in the sport of football. This is a major, major record. Why would you not go for it if you had the chance? Now, if he doesn't get it, you had a chance last week. Like I said, I understand the logic, but I just don't get it. You're still in my fandom.
Yeah, no, that's kind of where I am. Like you could have really made this a moment in time that people would have really remembered and been invested in for 40 years. My guy did this. I watched that whole year. My guy did that. It's like breaking a home run record. You were there for the home run ball that went out of the park. It's like, but it's that monumental.
I think you're making too many assumptions, man.
I'm not making any assumptions.
You're assuming that he definitely gets the record.
Oh, well, that's an easy assumption.
Well, no, not necessarily.
Yeah, he would have got it.
Anything could have happened. Anything could have happened in this football game. That's number one.
What's
number
the
two,
likelihood that he would have got. Well, what's
I would
the
say it was
percentage
probable.
likelihood?
I would say it's probable.
Like 80%?
Yeah, I would give you.
Well,
I would give
that's
you
pretty
80%.
good odds, isn't it?
It's good odds, but you're assuming it definitely happens. You're also assuming that this record lasts for 40 years again, which I don't think it's going to, because they're going to go to an 18-game season. And I know teams don't necessarily rush the football like they used to, but we're starting to see a resurgence of the running game. I don't think you get a 40-year record like you've had with Eric Dickerson. I think this was the most prudent decision. I'm also surprised that a guy like T-Love is saying you're picking logic over fandom when he picked Wham over Run DMC in our Christmas carol. You remember that, Ray? So is he saying he's a bigger fan of Wham than Run DMC, T-Love? I wish he was here to defend himself now.
A lot of people said he got the right pick.
No, he did. But that was logic over fandom.
A lot of people were upset that Wham didn't win the whole thing.
Yeah, it is a classic song.
I was a little disappointed myself, I'll be honest.
But you think T-Love would prefer George Michael or Run DMC under normal circumstances?
No. Don't forget about Andrew Ridgely.
I still don't remember. You tell me all the time who the other guy was in Wham, but I don't remember who it was.
Man. Andrew Ridgely was the one who wasn't caught in some park bathroom.
Oh, yeah, George
Yakking
Michael
it.
was.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
I just learned about that.
Yeah, he did. I remember that.
Really?
I had no idea.
Pee Wee Herman, too, I think.
Really?
The things you learn waiting for Sirianni to come to the podium.
Hey, fella. Wait.
Wait, aren't you George Michael?
Wait, George Michael? Sirianni's coming up. He's late. So that means
I don't like tardiness.
We'll go to Greg in Bethlehem. Greg, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Greg.
Gentlemen, I get an opportunity to introduce Nick Sirianni again. I have two questions, both regarding Penn State. First is a philosophical. Do you know, Mike, do you have a theory on what it is that has generated Penn State hate?
Yeah. I have a doctorate in this. Penn State hate is fueled by the perception that Penn State carries itself as an elitist thing. And people that don't go to Penn State are slightly envious of that.
Well, that's what I thought. I mean, some people take the easy approach that, well, Sandusky and all that, but I'm old enough to realize that Penn State hate goes way before Sandusky. That really isn't a major part of it. But question about the next game. It seems to me that the biggest opportunity or issue for Penn State is going to be the offensive line versus the pass rush. And, they need to give Aller some time. Do you think that that's going to happen?
Well, Notre Dame's pretty good defense. They blitz a lot. We shall see. I think the kid is good enough now. I think he's progressed enough to be able to make good throws. My problem is I don't trust their wide receivers a lot. I trust the tight end, who I think they can get the ball to any time. But the running game is so good, it's going to help the quarterback. They got two running backs who are, they had over 200 yards last week.
Yeah. So you're calling for a close game?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a very close game.
Well, that's good. I mean, a close game is a good game.
Yeah, Notre Dame's favored by 1.5 points, so yeah, just by the line, it's going to be a close game.
Yeah, they're predicting it to be close. I'm rooting for Penn State, though. Let me ask you, you talk about this Penn State hate as we wait for Nick Sirianni. I mean, it's mainly, isn't that the biggest, maybe I'm drawing a blank, but that's the biggest football program that we have within a few hours of Philly, right? Is there any other major football program in this area? No. So this isn't a national hate that you think people have towards Penn State. It's just a local hate.
It's a local hate, but I think it might be a national hate also.
I think it's just...
all right, here's Nick Sirianni.
Do you have any additional information on where things stand with Jalen in any context?
Yeah, he's progressing through the protocol.
No long-term concern there?
He's progressing through the protocol. Can't say much more on when guys are in the protocol except for that.
The protocol related to he would be resting anyway?
I'm sorry?
The protocol, like you have to recover from practice, is the fact that would be resting from practice anyway related to him still being in the protocol?
Guys, yeah, okay. I mean, he's progressing through the protocol. There's not much more I have for you on that, guys.
How's Dallas look?
Yeah, he's had a good week. He's had a good week. Good to get him back out there. He's a heck of a football player, and we need him to accomplish the goals that we want to accomplish, and he's had a really good week.
What are your expectations for Tanner and Ian if they're the quarterbacks that played this Friday? What's your expectations for them? What do you want to get out?
Yeah, I want to continue to get better each and every day. That's been our mission this entire week for guys that are going to be playing in this game and guys that aren't going to be playing in this game. Is how do we progress? How do we get better? And so we're going through the week just like we would every other week, and I expect guys to go out there and perform and play to the standard that we have set here.
How valuable opportunity is it to see like a lot of these guys who don't play a lot during the regular season, in real live game action?
Yeah, I think very much so. Every time they are out there on the field being evaluated, we put a lot of stock, obviously, in how we practice and with the tempo that we practice with and the intensity that we practice with. So we feel like we get great looks there. But when you go out there and you're tackling to the ground, it's full speed, or it's always full speed, but where it's live, obviously that's a little different. So great evaluation process for us on different guys.
Because this is a big developmental week, can you give us some insight into what Connor has meant to that program and what he's done for your staff?
Yeah, he's been outstanding. Really always enjoyed my interactions with him, have a lot of interactions with him, gives me great perspective of different things. I lean on him a lot on different things of, hey, as a former player. And I do that same thing with Aaron Moorhead, being able to tap into that and, hey, what would you think here as a former? And so it's good having that perspective. And Connor is so committed to how do we continue to help guys get better, which speaks the same language as I do. And so that's why we have so many good conversations about it. Really value his opinion, really value his insight, really value him at this organization.
The developmental periods you talk about all the time, where did that idea come from?
We did that. We did that some in Indy. Frank, that was big with Frank. They had done that before I got here as well. And so it was good when we meshed those things together. And it's just so important. Again, these guys can't get enough of when you're on the scout team and you're not getting a lot of reps with the starters. Then you don't rep your plays, right? You're doing what a card says. It's a lot different running a play when you hear it in the huddle and have to go process it and go do it, one of our plays, as opposed to looking at a card and say, do this. It's just different. And so, we got to try to put them in positions to develop. I think, again, like I've said to you guys, one thing I learned really early on, it was college, but it was recruit, retain, develop very early on from Coach Karras, and that in the NFL that's the same deal, right? Scouting takes the place of recruiting, and Howie and his staff do a great job of that, as you can see by our roster, and then our job is to develop them into players that they're capable of being, and that's their job as well. That's why you look for the certain things that you can that really matter to the development, and so you just try to continue to find ways to do different things to develop them. From extra meetings, don't want to give away everything we do, but another thing we do is every Friday or Saturday, it's to the discretion of the position coach. There's an extra meeting also with just that scout team player to go through their reps of practice as well, both from the scout team and from the developmental periods.
That's my nephew.
Very nice. That was very nice of you, Zach.
There was some context to what Saquon's been able to do this year. When you and Kellen first got together and started building the offense, did you, in your talks with the Eagles, with Howie, looking for a running back who could fill what you wanted to do, or how much changed?
Yeah, he can do everything. Everything. Like he has every tool that you look for in running backs, and so there's he's special. You guys see it. I mean, and so you got really open season on everything there in your playbook, and anything you've done, anything you've thought about doing, anything you would look at and say, man, could Saquon do this? The answer is yes. Mostly, not mostly, always, right? Hey, he'd be really good at this. And I think we come away when we do those conversations, when we look through a tape and watch a certain play that we might be considering putting in, it's funny. We say, hey, this would be good for Saquon. And I laugh. I'm like, well, everything's probably going to be good for Saquon. And so, he's just a phenomenal teammate, phenomenal player.
In the post-game speeches this year, the phrase you keep using is "do special shit." Is there a background to that? Is there a backstory for why you kind of honed in on that message this year?
Yeah, I think what we've talked about is we've won 10-plus games the last, 3 years, and, that's good, and, we're excited about that, but, the extra stuff, the extra things are how you do special things, and I think just honing in on, hey, what is it? It's do special stuff, right? But it's the things that require you, what are the things that you have to do to win special things and do special things, and that's the commitment to connecting as a football team. That's the detail, right? That's the detail. That's the toughness, and it's just we just talk about that over and over again because that's the common denominator, the accountability. Those are the common denominators of good football teams, and we know, and our goals are to do special things and special stuff. All right, and so and that's our commitment to our standard of what we want to continue to get better at, and. Yeah, I think we've had a lot of success, and it's awesome to win the division, but our goals are higher, and then just getting in the playoffs or winning a division, right? We have our goals set on a higher goal. That still doesn't mean that you don't take it 1 week at a time, because the moment you start looking up, the higher you climb in the mountain, the moment you start looking up is the moment you start to slip. So our goals are to stay completely focused on where we are, but also know that our goals are higher than the cool things that we've been able to do so far this season.
When you think about all that you've accomplished this year, is there somebody, maybe a player, coach, someone in the building that maybe no one knows about or is unheralded that you think about really contributed to the success of this season?
Man, there's so many people, because it is hard to spread the love to the outside of guys. I feel like
your opportunity to give it to one person.
Yeah, and I don't think that's fair because there's so many that are able to do it. There's so many coaches. Kellen's had a great year coaching. Vic's had a great year coaching. Clay's had a great year coaching. Those are our coordinators, right? I mean, I just think about the job that Clint Hurt has done, Jeremiah Washburn's done, and again, Jamal Singleton. All these guys, and I'm going to feel bad that I'm not going to say everybody. Kevin Patullo's been awesome this year, and then I think about the guys that maybe aren't as recognized. Look at all the good things that Grant Calcaterra's done this season, and look at the development of Nolan Smith from this season of all the things that he does, and Josh Sweat. They do so much of the dirty work. Some of these guys do so much of the dirty work that's not recognized, that we sure as heck recognize it. And so there's a ton of those people on our team, both in the building and on staff. And there's a couple. I gave you a couple. I didn't want to do that, but I gave you a couple because I do like that they get recognized. Obviously, I just can't recognize everybody that deserves to be recognized, but I appreciate the question.
All right, thanks. We're off the record.
All righty. In and out. Very quick. Boom. Yeah. I didn't even realize that Ian Book will be activated for this game. And Ian Book will get some snaps, looks like, right?
I don't know. You think they'll give Book snaps?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, maybe. I thought this was going to be Tanner McKee's day.
But we'll see. I think Book will get in there and maybe in the fourth quarter. Notre Dame's finest.
Yeah.
Notre Dame quarterback. And in my head, I just went over the top Notre Dame quarterbacks that I could think of. He ain't one of them. But
you think maybe
that's what I'm going to do. When we get in at 12 o'clock
we'll
hour,
go through it?
The Penn State quarterbacks versus the Notre Dame quarterbacks. Top 8. You got to tell me who has the better group. All right?
You think Saquon and Ian Book have a little side bet going on the game? Penn State.
Does Saquon even know who Ian Book is?
Probably not.
610-632-0975. Our picks, news at noon, all coming your way in just a few. Stay tuned.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Regular season finale. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off. The Eagles take on the New York Giants Sunday at 1 o'clock down at Lincoln Financial Field in the regular season finale. It's going to be a lot of backups for the Eagles and whatever's left for the Giants. The Birds are locked into the 2 seed. Giants could use a loss to help their draft position. Of course, the big story of the week has been the Eagles' decision not to play Saquon Barkley, despite him being 101 yards from the rushing record. Brian Westbrook joined us yesterday to talk about how he views going for that record.
There would have been no question about it. I would have went for the record. These types of records, it's lasted 40 years because it's so hard to get to. It's so hard to be healthy. It's so hard to be consistent. And I think Saquon deserved the opportunity. I think the offensive line deserved it. I think the coaching staff deserved the opportunity to go for the record. And I understand the thought process. Hey, you want to be healthy. But he's been healthy all year.
You can hear our whole conversation with Brian Westbrook on our website, 975thefanatic.com. Elsewhere in Philadelphia sports, 2 lousy performances out west last night. 76ers lost 139-105 to the Warriors, and the Flyers lost 5-2 to the Golden Knights. I'm Ray Dunn on the home of the 76ers and the Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Hour with Mike Missanelli Show. Happy noon, everybody. Happy lunchtime. 12 o'clock hour is brought to us by Service First Heating and Air Conditioning. It's 0% financing for 72 months, a $500 rebate when you purchase a complete heating and cooling system from Service First. Learn more at ServiceFirstHVAC.com. Our picks will come your way at exactly 12:30, including our lock of the week. Tim McManus will join us at 1 o'clock for his look at this dynamic game on Sunday between the Giants and the Eagles and the decision not to play Saquon Barkley in this. But first, it is time for the news at noon.
There's a whole lot going on in this world. It's time to catch up. Here's the news at noon. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
News at noon, presented by one Ray Dunn. Ray started off with a little NBA action, Ray, eh?
Yeah, we got a pair of former 76ers we're going to get to here at the news at noon, and we will start with the one down in Miami. Jimmy Butler, pair of 9-point performances where it looks like he does not care at all what happens to the Miami Heat out there on the floor. So after the game, of course, questions arise about asking for a trade, his joy playing the game of basketball for the Heat. Just take a listen to the Jimmy Butler era end in Miami.
What do you want to see happen to fix it? What do I want to see happen? I want to see me get my joy back from playing basketball. And wherever that may be, we'll find out here pretty soon. But I want to get my joy back. I'm happy here, off the court. But I want to be back to somewhat dominant. I want to hoop. And I want to help this team win. Right now, I'm not doing that. Can you get your joy back here on the court? Probably not.
Well, off the court, he's got some joy at South Beach. That would follow.
Shocking.
Yeah, that would be shocking.
Professional athlete finds joy in Miami life.
You know, it's funny. This is the test of wills here because Pat Riley takes no mess, right? So he's he and Spo go, if he's not going to play hard, we're not going to play him. Meanwhile, they don't realize that by not playing him, he's going to do this.
Yeah.
Like a double-edged sword with Jimmy Butler.
Open to a trade to any of the other 29 teams.
Yes, he is. Open. Move me anywhere. I don't care where I go. I just want out.
At this point, he might take a trade to Seattle.
Yes, he might take a trade to Seattle.
He would bring back the Supersonics
no
before he gave any effort to the Heat.
He probably thinks the Seattle Supersonics still play in the league. All right, number 2.
All right, let's keep it with those former 76ers and J.J. Redick, who a couple weeks ago threw inside the NBA under the bus when he was talking about the ratings and why things aren't going good for the NBA right now, basically saying he doesn't enjoy the show. Charles Barkley waited and found the perfect time during highlights of the Celtics and Timberwolves playing to launch into his attack on J.J. Redick.
Was he just talking about folks on TV?
He said something about we're the reason people ain't watching this crappy product we got. I said, JJ. Yeah, us. Like, we out there jacking up 100 threes a night. JJ, I don't know Jason Monroe. I don't know who that is, but JJ, you come for the king. You better not miss. 'Cause I can get you, brother, because I got your Lakers games. You can't hide them flaws they got. You just a dead man walking. They got rid of Frank Vogel, who did a good job. They got rid of Darvin Ham, who did a good job. But you came out there thinking you were going to change things with that same ugly girl you went on the date with.
64-51 was your halftime score. As we get back to the highlights, and Rudy Gobert.
No, he came in there thinking, I can make this thing work. Hell, you can.
77, 71.
Put the makeup on that pig.
Man, the Lakers are pigs.
The Lakers stink, man.
Oh, man, okay.
All right, so a couple things to they obviously don't like getting criticized, right? Because they flash back, and you can never win a battle when you go against those guys on inside the NBA, right? So he's predicted that JJ might get the hook after 1 year, but he also said one of my favorite lines from my favorite show of all time:
"You come for the king, you better not miss." Omar,
you best not miss.
Yes, Omar.
That's correct. That's good work by Chuck.
What a terrible decision to go after the inside the NBA guys. Like,
Can't win that.
No winning in that.
Can't win that. I'll bat you around.
You could be 42-0, and they would find a way to rip you apart.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, come on, man. Same ugly girl you took this party. All right.
All right, let's wrap it up with potentially the end of Aaron Rodgers' football career. Could happen this weekend. He's
Bill's very sad about this, by the way.
Horribly sad about it.
Yeah.
One touchdown away from 500 passing touchdowns for his career, so that's something to watch for a Jets team that hasn't been worth watching for a very long time. Interesting, his perspective on his 2 years in New York.
I mean, gratitude, honestly. It's been the best 2 years of my life. And that's a perspective adjustment that happened, I think, at some point during the rehab process last year. But just the excitement, falling back in love with the game, getting to know these guys in here, getting to know the great men and women that work here. Been a lot of fun. You know, it's obviously on the field, it's been short of expectations, no doubt. But this game is more than just that. This game is about the relationships.
Best 2 years of this man's life. Do you buy it?
Well, maybe. You saw the documentary, Mike. Maybe he is having the time of his life.
Yeah, I mean, I have a hard time believing that when you win somewhere else, those wouldn't be the best years of your life. That this has been nothing but misery.
Yeah, he won an MVP, Super Bowl.
Yeah, come on, man.
Yeah.
You wrecked your Achilles one year, they stink the next year, and you're going to go out having lost your legacy as one of the great players. So it can't be the best 2 years of your life. Liar, liar, pants on fire. That's the end today.
That's the end of the News at Noon. Good job, Brad. Yeah, how about Hassan Reddick, man? I forget sometimes that he's on that Jets team.
No impact.
What a terrible decision on his part.
He messed up his whole career.
He did. He lost money, went to a terrible organization.
Yep.
It's a shame. He got bad advice from his agent. That's what happened.
Probably. But at the end of the day, you know, you got to read the tea leaves. Where am I going to go? I'm going to go to the Jets. They really need me. That means I need more money. Like that, I don't think that was a faulty premise. They really wanted him. He thought because they really wanted him, salary would go up.
True.
Miscalculated.
Well, the Jets made the mistake. You don't trade for a player unless you already have a contract agreed to.
That's correct.
And then
that's why Joe Douglas is out of there.
Yeah, the Jets are going to jet.
Joe Douglas, you know, all the raving that you always heard about Joe Douglas, he might be the most overrated front office guy ever.
It's possible. I mean, I remember hearing.
What did that guy ever do that was so great?
Well, he was here.
Yeah.
Right? And then
made a couple of recommendations. Okay.
But when he left, yeah, I remember a lot of people, this team's going to struggle.
Joe Douglas.
Howie's not going to be able to do it without Joe Douglas.
Yeah, Joe Douglas. 610-632-0975. We'll get back to your phone calls. We've got our picks coming up. I'm about to do an analysis between Notre Dame quarterbacks and Penn State quarterbacks. It's no contest, by the way. Mike Missanelli show continues.
Kincade.
Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5, The Fanatic. Nick Serriani, I don't know, is this a league rule that you can't speak about when somebody's in a concussion protocol? What is that about? Like, couldn't he have given an update? Like, we probably would have rested him this week anyway, so we give him an extra week. Like, why couldn't you have said that?
Well, I don't know if it's a league rule, but he usually doesn't give updates on medical, like where he would say, I'm not going to put any expectations on a guy. I guess his answer of he's going through the protocol, maybe he could have given more detail at what stage of the protocol he was in. I was all right. What detail does he need to provide? They're not rushing him through the protocol because he's not playing anyway. I don't have any concern.
I get it. He's a non-factor, but like somebody also asked him, well, would that meant he would have been out this week?
Yeah.
And
then he's always still in the protocol.
Yeah, he would have been one of the guys we arrested. Like, why couldn't you have said something like that?
Yeah, he could have said that. You're right. He could have said that. And I think that would have probably been accurate. He wouldn't have played Jalen.
He's the all-timer, and all you got to do is read Reuben Frank's 10 different ways to measure Nick Sirianni's success as a head coach.
So much good.
Now, the only reason why maybe he was reluctant to say that is there is a contingent of people who would have liked to have seen Jalen play this week because of the fact that he hasn't played really the last two games, and now you're going to add this one in. So it's he hasn't really played meaningful minutes in 3 weeks. It'll be about 4 weeks by the time the playoff game comes. So.
All right. Here's a Eagles-Giants preview. 5 things to watch in case you're looking for something to watch in this meaningless game instead of going to the mall with your wife. Because if she knows the circumstances of this game, you're going to the mall. All right? So here it is. Here's one of the things that you have to watch if you're going to watch the game. Tanner McKee, obviously, the quarterback. Why? I don't know. He's the third stringer on this team. I couldn't care less what Tanner McKee shows me, to be honest with you.
Well, it could be. Wait, what's his contract? Is he still under contract?
I don't know.
Maybe you flip him for somebody.
Yeah, maybe. Whatever. Running back Will Shipley. Okay. Will Shipley, he has 20 carries this year, so he'll get a few more. And maybe he'll get the majority carries, and they'll save Gainwell. Offensive guard Trevor Keegan
out of Michigan. Draft pick this year.
You want to see him? All right. Number 4, Jeremiah Trotter Jr.
That'll be exciting.
And here's one right after your own heart. You want to see whether the Giants can further mess up their draft position.
There it is.
Which I couldn't care less about.
So those 5 things are pretty good.
But Ian Book may get some time at quarterback. Maybe he gets the fourth quarter. So it got me thinking. Ian Book, one of the great names. Actually, he was a lousy name as a Notre Dame quarterback. I can't not even believe he's in the league, frankly. But I just, in my head, tried to accumulate a list of Notre Dame quarterbacks and Penn State quarterbacks. So let me go. This is the first 8 quarterbacks that I came up with for Notre Dame. And I guess you can go way into the past, but I kept it pretty modern. So the best of the lot, obviously, is Joe Montana. And then you got Joe Theismann. And then you got Brady Quinn.
Brady Quinn was good.
But not in the NFL.
No.
Yeah, and you got Jimmy Clausen.
Another kid who
stayed and played in the NFL. Then you got Rick Mirer.
Who did Rick play for in the pros?
Seattle Seahawks.
Was he successful in the pros?
Decent quarterback. Yeah, very good college quarterback. And then you got Ron Paulus, who spent some time as an Eagle backup, the kid from Berwick, Pennsylvania. And then you got Steve Berline from way back in the day, many years in the NFL. All these guys played in the NFL. And then you got Tony Rice, who didn't play in the NFL, I don't believe, but was that option quarterback they had. I think they won a national championship with him. Right? That's a pretty good list.
Now, they have a really good list compared to Penn State.
Penn State's list stinks. You got Kerry Collins.
And end of list.
You got Todd Blackledge. You probably put Drew Aller third at this point.
Michael Robinson was a good quarterback.
Michael Robinson never played quarterback in the NFL, though.
No, he was a good college
He went to a running back in the NFL. You had Christian Hackenberg. You had Matt McGloin, Trace McSorley, Sean Clifford. They all played in the NFL. And you had a guy named Darryl Clark who put up good numbers at Penn State, but I don't believe he played in the NFL either.
What about my buddy's brother, Tony Sack?
Tony Sack did not make my list.
Hey, he was a good at Penn State, though.
Yeah.
And he got drafted by who? Miami?
Yeah. And then there was the kid, Anthony Morelli. who was also a starter there. They had a couple Italian quarterbacks didn't quite cut it.
But
yeah, Tony Sack is the pride of Del Rand.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And I told you before, his son, I think, just committed to, was it Notre Dame?
As a linebacker.
Yes,
it is his son.
Yeah, he's going to Notre Dame, right?
Yes.
Yeah, interesting.
All right, let's get back to the phones. We got a Joe on a cell. Joe, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Joe.
Hey, guys. So the Reuben Frank article, okay, did he mention that he's 2-3 in the playoffs?
Didn't mention that one. That might be 11. Number 11, I believe.
I mean, at this point, it's gotten to the point where it's, I know his winning percentage is great, but, it's all about the playoffs now. At some point, we got to go, okay, it's a loaded roster. They have the best talent in the NFL.
Also did not mention that he's one of the few coaches that lost 6 of his last 7 games. In fact, he's only the second coach that lost 6 of his last 7 games after starting a season 10-1. That didn't make the list.
Stop it. Both of you, stop it.
All right. So, Bill, this one's for you. Because, we can't talk without me, saying something about Jalen Hurts. So when he got benched at Alabama, Nick Saban said that he had the yips. I'm convinced that that's part of the problem. Because when you watch him throw, there's no throwing of anticipation at all. He never throws before the guy breaks, and that's the problem. The touchdown pass that Jaden Daniels threw to beat us, he has never thrown that pass. Never.
Can't worry about it now, brother. You can't worry about it now. You're wasting your energy.
Yeah, but, Joe, when you say I think that's the problem, what problem? I mean, this team has won a ton of football games with Jalen Hurts at the quarterback position.
Yeah, he's also 2-3 in the playoffs, too.
Yeah, but when you say they're 2-3 in the playoffs, the first season they were a wild card team that lost to the Tampa Bay Bucks, who went on to win. Well, they weren't a wild card team. They won the NFC East, and then they played the Bucks, who won the Super Bowl that year, if I'm not mistaken. And then last year they played the Bucks in what was their epic collapse, and then you sandwich in between. Pretty successful playoff run, don't you think? They go all the way to the Super Bowl and are about a half away from knocking off Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. Yeah, I wouldn't look at his playoff career and say that Jalen and Nick haven't had success. And Jalen played a hell of a Super Bowl throwing the football.
Yeah, he did. And they beat Daniel Jones and they beat San Francisco without a quarterback. That's the fact.
Yeah, no need to be down on Jalen right now. No need. It's not a conversation that even applies here.
No, and I'm being corrected. I don't think it was the year the Bucks won the Super Bowl that they beat them, but that's who they lost to. It was Brady, right? Right? Am I right on that? Yeah. But it wasn't the year they won the Super Bowl. But you're right. What are we down on Hurts now? I mean, it's complaining about something that's not going to change.
It's not even a conversation right now. You complain. He's your starting quarterback, and we'll see. First rung would be if they beat the Packers. The way it looks.
Most likely it'll be the Packers. If the Commanders...
Most likely it'll beat the Packers?
No,
it'll be the Packers.
It'll be.
Now, you and Ray are frightened by that game.
Well, if you just look at all of the teams that are going to be in the NFC playoffs, there's only 2 teams outside of the Eagles that have a top 10 offense and a top 10 defense in terms of points. The Detroit Lions have the number 1 offense in terms of points scored, and they have the number 8 defense in terms of points allowed. And the Green Bay Packers, also number 8 and number 6.
Cold weather team.
Yes.
That will come here in cold weather that may look a little warmer than what they're used to playing in. I don't know. I don't know how to figure that game, but I can tell you this. If they lose that game, oh, boy.
They'll be favored.
Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy.
I told you yesterday.
I'm the dumbest coach in the world.
The hypothetical lines are out, and right now the Eagles are a 3-point favorite over the Green Bay Packers.
Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy.
They should win that game.
That's not much.
No, it's not. It's not going to be an easy game. Look, we were touting Nick Sirianni with all those stats that Reuben Frank gave. Few of the names that are mentioned in there with him are Matt LaFleur. A lot of those categories. He's been a very good coach, and they do have a good quarterback, and they do have a good defense. So it's not an easy matchup for your first playoff game.
All right, coming up, our fearless selections. I'm going to try to sneak credit for my Notre Dame pick, but I know people aren't going to accept that, so I'll give you 3 anyway. So will Bill. We'll have our locks of the week brought by McCausland Lock Service. After this, don't go anywhere.
Fanatic Sports Up Update.
The regular season finale. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off. The Eagles take on the Giants Sunday at 1 o'clock at Lincoln Financial Field. The game is the regular season finale. A lot of backups going for the Birds. And the Giants really could use a loss in this game to help their draft position. Of course, the big story of the week has been the Eagles' decision not to play Saquon Barkley, despite him being 101 yards from the single-season rushing record. Former Eagles running back Brian Westbrook joined us yesterday to talk about how he views going for the record.
There would have been no question about it. I would have went for the record. These types of records, it's lasted 40 years because it's so hard to get to. It's so hard to be healthy. It's so hard to be consistent. And I think Saquon deserved the opportunity. I think the offensive line deserved it. I think the coaching staff deserve the opportunity to go for the record. And I understand the thought process. Hey, you want to be healthy. But he's been healthy all year.
You can listen to the full conversation with Brian Westbrook on our website, 975thefanatic.com. Elsewhere in Philadelphia sports, 2 lousy performances out west last night. 76ers lost 139-105 to the Warriors, and the Flyers lost 5-2 to the Golden Knights. I'm Ray Dunn, the home, the 76ers and the Flyers, 975 The Fanatic and 975thefanatic.com.
Not only can you listen to The Fanatic, but you can also watch on 97.5.
Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5 The Fanatic, Football Friday. And it is time for our fearless selections for the weekend of football. No college games to speak of, but I'm going to squeeze a college game in there because I don't see any good value in pro this week. So we will start with Bill, who's been just a tremendous prognosticator for all of his NFL picks this whole season. So, Bill, start it off. What do you got?
Yeah, it's been a good year. I just wish I would have bet a little more, but hopefully people made money off of these picks. Let's start in Dallas. You got the Washington Commanders as 6.5-point favorites going on the road to take on them boys. If the Commanders win that game, they are the 6th seed. I'm taking Washington in a blowout. They will cover the 6.5 points. Next up,
So that means the Eagles play the Packers.
Correct. Eagles will play the Packers in the wild card. Next up, this may be my favorite game to watch that includes a backup quarterback. Carson Wentz and the Kansas City Chiefs on the road in Denver. Denver needs to win this game, but they're giving Wentz and the Chiefs 10.5 points. I think the Broncos win, but they do not cover. Take Carson Wentz plus 10.5.
Wait a second. Denver is a 10.5-point favorite in that game?
Correct.
Oh, my God.
Chiefs will cover. So I'm taking Wentz.
It's hard to
and the
believe
Chiefs.
that they'd be that much of a favorite.
Well, the Chiefs are resting everybody.
I get it.
Yeah. So I like that game. And then finally, my lock of the week. Let's head on down to Tampa Bay. The Bucs need to win, and they will be your NFC South champion. The New Orleans Saints are in town, and the Bucs are a 13.5-point favorite. My lock of the week, Mike. The Bucs cover, and they cover easily.
Wow. Big line.
These are weird games this week, man.
All right. Let me move on to two games where one team needs to have a little self-respect as they go into the offseason, and the other, the line is telling me a little something. Let's start off with the first one. I'm going to take the Jets plus a point against the Dolphins. The Dolphins aren't playing Tua. Season's over. The Jets would like to win the game. Aaron Rodgers is going to play. I'll take the Jets plus a point. I think they win the game outright. Outright. Let me go to a college game, which I have absolutely nothing, no information on. It's the Duke's Mayonnaise Bowl.
Love it.
And it's Minnesota from the Big Bad Big Ten against Virginia Tech. Minnesota is not a bad team. And the line has gone up. Minnesota minus 4.5 to Minnesota minus 9 against Virginia Tech. I will take the Golden Gophers. They got something to prove here. Big Ten supremacy to beat Virginia Tech by more than 9. And my lock of the week brought to you by McCausland Lock Service for up to 50% off. Car keys and remotes, go to where dealers go. McCausland Lock Service. The Tennessee Titans are favored against the Texans, who aren't playing anybody. I'll take the Titans minus 1.5. I think this is a big spot for the Titans to get a W in the last regular season game. My lock of the week, the Tennessee Titans minus 1.5 against the Texans. I have also included the Jets plus 1 over the Dolphins and the Minnesota Golden Gophers minus 9. And those are our fearless selections of the week.
Weird week, man. Weird week. Neither one of us were taking the Ravens minus 20 against the Cleveland Browns.
That's hard to
believe. Have you ever seen that, a pro line that high?
That might be the highest line ever. We have to get confirmation on that. I believe that could be the highest line ever.
Yeah, in the NFL?
Yeah.
Let me see. I got it. I'm Googling it now.
I believe it was a Schefter tweet yesterday that was courtesy of your buddy Yembo saying that this line is larger than any line the Browns had against them the year that they did not win a football game. Like this is.
Well, then that must be the biggest line ever, right? I've never recalled.
I would imagine so.
I've never seen a plus 20.
I'm looking now. So plus 20 actually doesn't even crack the top 10.
Really? Get out of here.
Yep. So coming in at number 9, you got to go to 1991. The Colts plus 20.5 at Buffalo. The Colts again.
Well, what was the biggest line?
All right, biggest line. Plus 26.5 going back to October of 2013, the Jacksonville Jags at Denver. Wow, and how about this? The score was 35-19.
Wow, easy cover.
No, it wasn't a cover.
What,
26.5. Am I doing my math wrong here?
A cover for the underdog.
Yes.
If you took the 26.5.
Yeah, but that's not an easy cover. That's
Sure it is. You
That
covered.
game.
Yeah, 16.
16-point
I'm thinking there was 26.
What's wrong with you?
I'm usually very good at math. I'm very good at math. But then how about this one? The Philadelphia Eagles, November 25th, 2007, the second highest spread ever at New England. You remember this game? They were getting 24 points. Wow. It ended up finishing 31-28.
So the biggest line has been 26.5.
26.5.
Okay.
That game got down to a 2-point game. The Jaguars-Broncos of 2013, 21-19. Chad Henne with more passing yards in that game than Peyton Manning.
Chad Henne. Where did he go to college? Chad Henne. Which Big Ten school produced Chad Henne?
I don't remember.
The Michigan Wolverines.
He's a local guy, too.
The
right?
Michigan
Local-ish.
QB. He was, in fact, here's the story. Chad Henne is from the Reading area. He was 1-2 as the quarterback with, I believe, Anthony Morelli. Were the two top quarterbacks in Pennsylvania. Michigan took Henne. Penn State took Morelli. See if you can verify that. This is in the recesses of my mind. They were ranked number 1 and 2 in the state of Pennsylvania.
Well, you got Chad Henne played at Wilson, which is in West Lawn,
Wilson,
PA.
West Lawn. It's near Reading.
And that was his college career started in 04.
I believe that's where Kerry Collins also played.
So he started his career in 04. And Tony Sacca. Is that what you said?
No, I said Anthony Morelli.
Oh, Anthony Morelli.
He was from the Pittsburgh area, I believe.
Anthony Morelli, Pittsburgh, played at Penn Hills.
Mm-hmm.
And his college career started in...
Yeah, they were going to announce their commitments the same week.
Same year,
They
so
were
you're correct.
1 and 2, and Henne chose Michigan.
Interesting.
Yeah, Henne was down to Penn State, Michigan, and Miami.
There you go. Look at that. All right, let's go back to the phones. We got James in Center City. James, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. James.
Yo, Mike, what's up, man?
What's going on, James?
Long time, buddy. I'm actually kind of a hypocrite because I was hoping today we would just kind of turn the page on this whole subject, but I took the bait. So I just feel like the fan. First of all, I think it's a no-brainer. You get your best, everybody, because a buy, especially this day and age, only one team gets a buy. So if you can kind of fall ass backwards on the one, you got to use it. I mean, I understand from his personal perspective, it's kind of a bummer, but it just didn't happen, and it is what it is. But the fact that we have the fan base now calling up, left screaming and crying like babies, like this is probably a 14-win team that could win the Super Bowl, and everyone just sounds like a bunch of ingrates bitching and moaning about this. Like everyone just grow up, take a deep breath. I'm hoping after Sunday we can move on and start focusing on like real thing, like winning the Super Bowl. You know what I mean?
I don't think most people were bent out of shape about it.
I
think it's a topic to be discussed. I think that most fans are actually more conservative, and they think it was the prudent thing to do.
Well, that's good to hear because, I look at it like this, too. Regardless of like the regular season record, the guy had over 2,000 yards. He dominated in his first year. He could steamroll through the NFC playoffs, get to the Super Bowl in the Superdome, biggest game of his life, win the MVP. And guess what? In my opinion, that's the greatest season a running back ever had. I don't care about the 100 yards. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but suppose he could have had both.
Yeah, but who cares? If they win,
who cares?
That'll happen.
Who cares? What do you mean, who cares? It's an all-time record from one of your guys.
Mike, but if he does, I see the game with my own eyes. I know he had 2,000 yards. I know he rolled through the playoff and got the MVP of the Super Bowl. And let's say he breaks Timmy Smith's record, whoever's got the Super Bowl record. I don't think anyone's going to care about the regular season at that point. No one's going to care. When's the last time anyone thought about Eric Dickerson before this year? You know what I mean? I don't think if he has that kind of playoff and he gets the MVP of the Super Bowl, that to me is still the greatest season.
You're putting a lot of ifs in there, brother.
Well, don't you think he could do that?
Don't you think he could have set the all-time record and still done that?
But it wasn't. It's never going to happen because
Why?
You can't. I think because I think a month ago.
Why? If he played in the last game, would he be unable to do what you just said?
Because I'm not saying he couldn't have, but that was never going to happen. You're talking about it, in my personal opinion, as far as the NFL, the way it lines up, that was an impossibility. I think we saw like a month ago, that was kind of like the silver lining. We knew we were probably going to catch Detroit, but I think we all saw the schedule and said, you know what? If we got the 2 seed, you're still going to get a bye because you got Dallas and the Giants the last 2 games of the season. I think everyone pretty much accepted that, and that's a good thing. I think the bye is more important than the home field advantage. You know what I mean? I really believe that. So I think it's a blessing in disguise. The guy's still going to dominate through the playoffs. Once the playoffs start, we'll move on. But then, real quick, Bill, you got those future, you said, prospective odds for the first-round matchups?
Correct, the hypotheticals.
Yeah. So you said the line's 3. Now, I thought maybe when you said, I think it was going to be like closer to 5.5 or something. I mean, I don't know where you're getting these lines from, but is that something, is there some sort of inside information, something still messed up with Jalen Hurts, or they're just at least not sure about him? Because that's a little light, that line.
Yeah, this is on FanDuel. I don't think it has anything to do with Jalen Hurts' injury. I think it has to do with the fact that the Packers are a good football team.
Yeah, I don't think it's a light line.
Yeah, and I think people are looking back to what the Packers did last year in the playoffs and how good they've been recently. I know they got beat by the Minnesota Vikings, but they're a good team.
The Eagles are a basic home team favorite in that game.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of the other hypothetical lines. You got, like the Ravens are 6.5-point favorites over the Chargers. The big lines, the Bills would be 8.5-point favorites over the Broncos. The Ravens would be 7.5-point favorites over the Steelers. But outside of that, the Lions, 3-point favorites in L.A. if they have to play the Rams. The Commanders would actually be 2.5-point dogs in Tampa. It seems like it's a pretty fair line. I don't love it, the 3-point line, but it seems like it's pretty fair.
Playoff line, too. I mean, it's you know. This is a ultra-competitive playoff game, and you can't get too crazy about giving the team. You know, the Eagles are better than the Packers, but that 4-point, 5-point line would have been way out of whack.
Yeah, 5 is probably too much, but maybe 3.5, 4 would make you feel better.
By comparison, last year, and it was a Packers team that was 9-8 and hadn't proven anything. It was a 7.5-point line for the Cowboys in that 2-7 matchup last year.
What was the line?
7.5 points.
When they went into Dallas and dominated?
Yeah.
They dominated.
So that might just be a little bit of respect being shown after what happened to them last year.
And do you remember that Dallas Cowboys team last year was unbelievable at home? They were setting all types of records offensively and point differential, and then the Packers came in. That game was over. They padded the stats at the end, the Cowboys, making it look like it was close. That game was over by halftime. You remember that?
Yeah, because I also remember if Packers kicker would make a kick, Shane and I even talked about the 49ers going to the Super Bowl.
All right. Tyrone in South Philly joins us. What's up, Tyrone?
How you doing?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm good. So I'm listening to all these guys. First of all, I love y'all show, man, because y'all always look at it from different perspectives. All these people call and talk about what's the big deal for the record. I'm 56 years old, and I remember I was 16 when Eric Dickerson, but in 2011, I remember wanting this guy, Adrian Peterson, to get the record. So if you're a sports fan, you want to see it. But, you know, I just wanted him to go for it. So everybody that's
you want to see your own guy get it because it's a source of fan pride.
Exactly.
It's the biggest source of fan pride. Like, for instance, there are 2 players, in my opinion, that were the best at their position in all of their sport. Mike Schmidt, Reggie White. Now, you have that forever, right?
Exactly. I've seen that. So I'm on your side. And also the other thing that you brought up a good point. Season ticket. I just had Shipley. I'm doing Uber. I just had Shipley's friend here, and I dropped him off in Cherry Hill. He here for Shipley. That's the backup running back for the Eagles. And he was telling me, he brought up a good point. I said I was going to bring it up to y'all, that season ticket holders, he's a Carolina Panthers fan, and they still have to pay even though they didn't make it to the playoffs. So to throw them a bone back for sitting guys, I get it. That's a good gesture. Because these guys that get the season ticket holders, they still playing as if they made it to the playoffs, and they didn't.
Yeah, well, but they're still playing all their starters, and they're trying to win, and so that product is not diluted. They're just a bad team. This product is intentionally being diluted. That's why I said it would have been a nice gesture to give somebody 25% rebate, 20% rebate, something. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's just not practical. It isn't. It's just not practical.
It's not practical, but he won't ever explain why it's not
he won't
practical.
make it practical. He'll just sit there and tell you it's
I'm
not
telling
practical.
you why it's not. Because season ticket holders may have already sold those tickets. And if you're going to give a rebate to the person who sold the ticket, they could turn around and not give that returned back to the person
you're
who
siding
sold.
with the giant corporation and just saying there might be one bad person out there, so the giant corporation deserves to keep all that money. Do you realize what you're saying?
And it's a slippery slope.
Here's the premise. Let the secondary buyer beware. They didn't own the ticket in the first place. So if the guy who's the season ticket holder sold the ticket, that buyer has to be beware. But the season ticket holder would get the benefit because he's owed the benefit.
But again, I think it's a slippery slope.
Caveat emptor.
It is not an objective analysis. At what point does the owner say, okay, you know what? Not enough players are playing for us to charge full price. It's not an objective thing. You can't just say, well, if the starting quarterback doesn't play, we're going to discount.
No.
Well, if this amount of people don't play, we're going to discount.
I'm saying this is a fluid decision. Like when they announced that all these guys aren't going to play, you know what? This would be nice to gesture. I'm going to give back to the season ticket holders. You don't have to have this hard and fast rule. It could be made on a spur of the moment.
All right, and then what about when the preseason comes next year?
That's a different story. You know what you're signing up for in the preseason.
You know what you're signing up for in Week 18.
Hey, thanks for your support this season. We're going to get a bajillion dollars out of you for our potentially two home playoff games.
You don't know what you're signing up for in Week 18. You may be signing up for a full bore game.
But there's a chance that you're going to have starters resting.
But the chance is that it's not the thing. It could be the game that you need for the playoffs.
If they give you the option at the beginning of the season, hey, you want to opt out of Week 18? Or are you opting out of Week 18?
Maybe, probably not, because
Probably
there's a
not.
chance. All right, well, let's flip it then. What about the Giants fans who bought tickets? Do they deserve a discount at this game if they're coming to the link?
Sure. Yeah, but the Giants, they're irrelevant.
If you're giving
Well, why are they irrelevant?
Because
they
I have
paid
control.
to see Jalen Hurts. They paid to see Saquon Barkley.
My God. I have control of my own franchise at home. I don't care with the Giants.
Yeah.
This is my own. I'm taking care of my own people.
Give them more money to fly another plane.
I'm an
Eagles trash.
I'm an Eagles season ticket holder. I put the tickets up for sale. A Giants fan bought them. Am I going to now give them the 20% off discount that I just received?
You can.
Of
That's
course
your
not. You don't give it.
You're not seeing how this is not very practical.
Let the
Is the Giants fan
secondary
coming to your house?
Let the secondary purchaser beware. Caveat emptor. I'm talking about the guy who owns the tickets, who's had to pay a seat license, who has to renew his tickets every year or lose them. Throw him a 20% bone. For crying out loud, Bill. You're a hard-hearted man.
I just don't think it's an objective analysis that is practical in the real world. It's a great idea.
But again, you won't tell me why it's not practical.
I'm telling you why.
Why?
Because you're saying, well, who cares about the secondary market? Well, it's the secondary market that may be going to this game that has to watch the team they didn't pay for, not the season ticket holder who decided to sell the tickets.
The secondary market guy is taking a chance on one game. It's not even in the same argument.
The whole point of your premise is that people are paying to go see a game that's not going to have the normal players play. So shouldn't the people who actually go to the game that paid for the ticket to go to the game be the one that would receive the benefit?
No, because they don't have control of the ticket. I'm talking about the ticket controller. The guy who sells it to somebody else, that's a let a buyer beware situation.
You beware. And by the way, JM came after you in the YouTube chat saying that you keep making the argument that the two best players at their position in Philadelphia history were Mike Schmidt and Reggie White. And he's saying, but neither one of them own a single season record in their respective sport.
What? What does that have to do with anything?
Because you're making that comparison to Saquon Barkley and saying, well, Saquon Barkley could have been the best at his position.
I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is it's akin to that kind of a record. It's a local pride record. Doesn't even make sense, that argument. The local pride record. My guy was the best at that position ever. My guy set the all-time leading rushing record. It's two different premises, but it's the same feeling.
And by the way, it wasn't JM. My apologies. John Brenner.
John Brenner's an idiot. 610-632-0975. Tim McMahon is coming your way in 9 minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Regular season finale. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app today. The Eagles take on the New York Giants Sunday at 1 o'clock down at Lincoln Financial Field for the final game of the regular season. It's going to be a lot of backups for the Birds and whatever's left for the Giants. Eagles locked in the 2 seed, and the Giants could use a loss to help their draft position. Of course, the big story this week has been the Eagles' decision not to play Saquon Barkley despite him being 101 yards away from the single-season rushing record. Former Eagles running back Brian Westbrook joined us yesterday to talk about how he views going for the record.
There would have been no question about it. I would have went for the record. These types of records, it's lasted 40 years because it's so hard to get to. It's so hard to be healthy. It's so hard to be consistent. And I think Saquon deserved the opportunity. I think the offensive line deserved it. I think the coaching staff deserved the opportunity to go for the record. And I understand the thought process. Hey, you want to be healthy. But he's been healthy all year.
You can listen to our whole conversation with Brian Westbrook on our website, 975thefanatic.com. Elsewhere in Philly, 2 lousy performances out west last night. The 76ers lost 139-105 to the Warriors, and the Flyers lost 5-2 to the Golden Knights. This update's also brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code RADIO and get an extra 5% off. I'm Ray Dunn on the home, the 76ers and the Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5 The Fanatic on a football Friday. We got some butt-kicking game on Sunday. I don't know why even people would go to the stadium, but they will. It's the Giants and the Eagles, the final game. Everybody's being rested. The Giants will probably play to win. A lot of people picking the Giants to win. Let's get the handicap of this game. I know he's got all the X and O measurements and all the handicap back and forth. He covers the Eagles for ESPN.com. His name is Tim McManus. He's on the Comcast Business Hotline. Tim, handicap this game for me, will you?
Yeah, let's break down the X's and O's. just what the people want.
I don't even know how to look at this game. I guess, like a preseason game, you look at some guys and say, let's see if they can play. Will Shipley is going to be a big player in this game. Tanner McKee, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., guys like that. I guess that's the interesting part of the game, right? What else could be interesting?
I mean, let's be honest about it. It's the interlude before the playoffs. I mean, this is just a game that people are going to be watching with, their feet up on the couch, and the results don't really matter, and the key players aren't going to be playing, so you're not going to be sweating too much about injuries. And if there's guys that you want to sort of focus in on, I think Tanner McKee is probably the number one. It's somebody that during the course of his couple training camps here has looked really good, and I thought outperformed Kenny Pickett. And then you see him go into the game in that spot duty last week, and he throws, 4 pass attempts over touchdowns, and so that I think whets the appetite a little bit, and that's not only good for Eagles fans who think about what that could mean later down the road, but also if the Eagles end up getting some trade inquiries for either of those backup quarterbacks, and so that's definitely number one. And number two for me, I guess, would be a guy like Keely Ringo, Mike, who who was thought of as a potential starter, hasn't really had much playing time, so you get to see a few of these guys who have otherwise been buried on the depth chart, but not a whole lot to see.
All right. So Serriani was kind of tight-lipped on the concussion protocol with his starting quarterback. Do you have any information on that? I'm assuming he's fine to play in the playoffs, and he would have been one of the guys that wouldn't have played in this game. So what's the story with Jalen Hurts?
Yeah, so this was, Serriani got asked 3 straight questions about it to start his press conference today, and on the third one, he snapped a little bit. And he's like, guys, come on.
Yeah.
I can't answer anything. Obviously, it's a tough situation to be in. You can't say a whole lot about a guy who is dealing with a concussion, but he did say that Hurts is progressing through the concussion protocol. Mike, I can't tell you that I'm picking up on any, alarm bells right now. I mean, obviously, when you're dealing with a concussion, everyone is unique, and it's not easy to forecast. But, the sense that I get from sort of poking around, people who know him are not concerned and say, he'll be ready for the postseason. But that's not a doctor, and that's not the team, and that's, that's nothing official. But I haven't picked up on, this is something to worry about, where he's not going to be available to them towards the playoffs. Obviously, as we get closer, now we're 8-9 days away. The focus will increasingly be on the quarterback. But as of right now, he's in that protocol, and at least my anticipation is he'll continue to progress through that as we get closer to the Packers game or the Commanders game.
Well, this week the focus was on the running back, and of course this is the $1 million issue. So I've got to ask you. I know it's over, but I've got to ask you about it because there are people still on both sides of this argument. With the Saquon Barkley not playing in this game to get the record. It appeared to me that he kind of wanted to play and reluctantly kind of gave it up to a coach's decision. But I was more interested in how the teammates felt about this, because it also seemed like the offensive line was gacked up to try to get this record. How did you see this week?
Yeah, so it was a difficult spot, I think, because you don't want to deny one of your key players a chance at history. And when Barkley was talking with us, he said that his dad took it the hardest, and just put it from the perspective of, if that record lasts, who knows if it'll be a year or if it ends up being another 40 years like Dickerson is going on, that the family name gets to be a part of that. Barkley is a big historian when it comes to football and when it comes to running back history in particular. And so he knows what the significance of that record is. He knows what that would mean for his legacy. And I don't think there's any question that he wanted to go for it. I mean, he's outwardly stated, this was back in August, his goal is to be the best player, running back of all time. and that would be a major step towards that end, whether he ends up accomplishing that over the course of his career or not. And there were offensive linemen like Jordan Mailata that was like, I'm going to push for this. And that really speaks to me, not only the fact of like that's a point of pride for the offensive line, but it's also a respect thing for Barkley, who has come in and endeared himself to this entire team in like no time flat. Like, he comes from a rival team, and he has really found a way to be embraced here. So some of those guys wanted that, but I think everybody kind of recognized the big picture here, Mike. And that's that. It's not just him going out there, but it would be the linemen going out there, and then maybe you got to get the wide receivers to go out there and block for him. And if somebody gets hurt, and you end up losing early in the playoffs. Like, that's just devastating. So I think even Barkley, though he wanted it, sort of understood that at the end.
I guess. I don't know. Listen, objectively speaking, it's a prudent decision unless there's an all-time record at stake. And that's been my spin on this the whole week. We had Brian Westbrook on who said kind of the same thing, but my partner here, Bill, went the prudent way. Right, Bill?
Yeah, I think it was prudent, man. I do. I think you got to give yourself the best chance. I mean, Tim, they haven't had a bye week since week 5. You'd be asking these guys to play like 17 straight games if you want them to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and for every Mailata, there was a Lane Johnson who's like, dude, I'm 34. Like, I need some rest. And so let's not do anything, like let's get out while we can type of deal. And so I certainly understand that point. And so there's been, I would say, like minimal backlash to the decision where, there's obviously fans who wanted to see it, players who wanted to see it, and the whole thing. But if you reverse the script and they were to go for it and something happened in very recent history, which was the regular season finale last year against the Giants where A.J. Brown got hurt and Jalen Hurts got injured, Devontae Smith got banged up, you go into your opening game against Tampa and you get smoked. Like, if that were to happen again, the foundation of the organization would start rattling again. And, Sirianni's job would come in under fire. And, so ultimately it just wasn't worth it for them.
How are you feeling about my other brilliant idea today, which was since they were going to be prudent and rest their starters, and that's the greater good, how about if you give the ticket holders who paid for the price of this ticket 20% off that ticket, put it in their account? How you feel about that?
I love that. I mean, I love that idea personally. I'm definitely for the fans, and they get stuck. The season ticket holders, they got to pay for these preseason games, and nobody plays in them. And then you get to week 18, and you might not get anything of a product in that game either. So that can be a little bit tough. But we all know the NFL, Mike. Like, no shot.
Well, I'm talking about the generous heart of one Jeffrey Lurie. They instruct his employees to push a couple computer keys and get it done.
But it's not practical, right, Tim? It's not practical.
No chance.
No chance. All right, so Bill, here's the other Bill worry, Tim. Bill's worried that this is the Eagles should really need to win this game because the Giants. Oh no, I'm sorry. The Giants need to win.
I want to
game.
see the Giants
win.
win.
The Giants win the game because that would then push them further down the ranks of taking a quarterback that could really hurt the Eagles in subsequent years. How you feel about that?
How about the fact that are the Eagles still favored? Last I checked, they were favored by 3.
Yeah,
correct. Is that still there?
That's still
That's
right.
unbelievable. I mean, just think about the state of the franchise in New York, where it's already out there that none of the significant contributors on the Eagles are going to be playing, and you're still a 3-point dog coming in. Like, wow. So
I just saw it drop to 2.5. It's down to 2.5.
Oh, Giant money coming in.
Yeah, as we speak, we're affecting the line. But yeah, I mean, it would obviously that would be probably the best outcome. But I do think that the Eagles internally still would like to get this win, even though if you can play the game of chess and how that would negatively affect the Giants if they were to win. But getting 14 wins in a regular season, I think, does hold some significance to this organization.
All right, so do they pull this one off? Now you see what they're up against in this game, and you see the backups they're playing. Are they good enough to win this game?
Yeah, I think they are, actually. I think they are. Yeah, I mean, I think if you're betting on this one, it's just about as risky as betting on the preseason. But yeah, I could see it. I mean, if you go, looking at the two quarterbacks, like I could put McKee right up there. So yeah, I think they are good enough to win it.
All right, there you go. McManus picking. Is it a cover? Just a cover?
Yeah, we'll go Eagles with the cover. Why not?
All right. Tim, have a lot of fun covering this game. I know, I don't know. Give me like you're going through your head because you always predict an angle that you would write about for this game. What's your angle? What would the angle be? Yeah.
The angle is there is no angle, honestly. Like you're looking at, like I'm already doing. This is the one blessing, honestly. Now that we're sort of moving past the Saquon stuff, it's like, all right, I get to do some advanced like playoff prep here.
Yeah.
That's what the time in the locker room spent on. Probably part of what my Sunday is spent on, even as the game's going on. It's like all sights go to the quarterback, his health, and then who they're playing in the playoffs, which will be dropped probably on Sunday night.
All right. Sounds good.
Yeah, outside of the angle you're going to drop on us at 12 o'clock during our pregame show, though, you mean? There's going to be a lot of riveting conversation for that show on Sunday morning.
We're talking backup offensive lineman, the whole deal, Bill.
Bill is on record saying Will Shipley gets 101 yards. I took the under.
Yeah, I'm going to probably knock the under on that one too, Mike.
I switched it to 100 scrimmage yards.
Tim, thank you, man. We'll talk to you.
All right, boys.
Tim McManus on the Comcast Business Hotline.
It is strange.
Will Shipley.
It is a strange.
That's a good football name, though.
It is a good football name. But this is strange to talk about a game that means literally nothing.
Mm-hmm.
To, like, either team, really. The Giants want to lose this game, too. I mean, they can't come out and say it, but they would love to lose this game.
All right. After the break, and I want people to stay tuned for this because I got a story here in front of me. The headline is Chaos Reigns in the NFL and head coach and quarterback. For the Eagles, 2024 has already been won. They've got the coach and they've got the quarterback. So I thought it would be a good idea to go down the league and figure out where the Eagles rank with coach plus quarterback. Are you up for that?
Love it.
All right. 610-632-0975 back after this.
Philadelphia. Show has been holding court.
It's not a slippery slope because this is an easy call. Clearly, you're not playing anybody in this game. Clearly, you don't care about the outcome of this game. So if it's that clear, give your fans a bone. You're going to have them schlep down there, pay full price, parking, concessions, ticket to see what? A preseason game?
Essentially, yes.
Okay, so do we not bitch that they charge full price for a preseason game?
I just don't see how a team can make a decision to discount tickets when they're already
it's
sold.
Such a hardship. It's really such a hardship when they can just give a rebate in their account. You know, oh my God, you'd have to have a few of the ticket accountant people actually work to push a button to give them a rebate or take that money and put it towards next year's tickets. How about that?
Mike and Bill have been pleading their cases.
Well, here's where I disagree with you.
I care about the people.
It's a slippery slope. How many starters have to play for full price tickets? At what point we're going to discount it 20% because our quarterback's not playing, but we're not going to discount it 50% because our running back's playing. You can't. It's a slippery slope.
It's not a slippery slope because this is an easy call. Clearly, you're not playing anybody in this game. Clearly, you don't care about the outcome of this game. Instead of opening your heart to the possibility
now you sound like Jeffrey Lurie.
Giving somebody a benefit in life, you're against it.
I'm not against it. I'm saying practically, I don't see how you could implement something like that. When our starters don't play, we discount the prices. Because then where does it stop? Where does it stop? I don't know.
How in the world could you possibly be against an idea that benefits the consumer? What is wrong with you?
The Mike Missanelli Show Holding Court is brought to you by Grunko Law, your law firm when you need help because of an injury. We treat every case like it's Dallas Week. Pray for peace, prepare for trial. Now back to Mike Missanelli on 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Worried about where it stops? Benefit to the consumer? Well, that's a terrible thing. Where is this going to stop? My God, the consumer gets a benefit.
Right, we've been doing this show
man.
now. We're over 100 shows now, aren't we?
Yeah.
How many times do you think Mike has asked, "What is wrong with you?" to me? How many times has that happened already?
A lot.
I don't understand this one. It's like the consumer gets a little bit of a benefit.
What's the matter with you?
The consumer gets screwed every time he turns around, and you want to continue it. Well, where's it going to stop? Oh, Mike, geez, I lower the prices for the that's a terrible thing to have happen. All right, let's go to this. This story today, more than half the league figures to enter 2025 with either the new coach or new quarterback or both. We are living in unprecedented times here with us. We got the coach. We got the quarterback. It's all solidified. It's a beautiful thing. So I decided to do a little go down the list to see how much more we are benefiting than other teams when it comes to coach/quarterback. So let's do a review. Can we do a review here? Here's what I want you to do. I want you to rank the Eagles as well against this other thing, and where does the combination sit as far as you're going from 1 to 10 or whatever.
I think number one is easy that we'll all agree on. Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
Right? Best quarterback, head coach.
All right,
duo.
so let's just pencil in number one. But let's start with the Eagles division. The Commanders, you got Dan Quinn, Jaden Daniels. Better or worse than the Eagles?
I don't think you could make them better yet. You got a rookie quarterback, and you got a head coach who has a decent winning percentage in his career.
Not yet, but they're on kind of an on-deck circle type of category there. Yeah. All right. Yeah, reserve that, and we'll see if we can rank it a little later.
They're definitely the second best in the division.
Cowboys, McCarthy, Dak.
No, they're not above the Eagles.
Giants, Dable, Locke.
Yeah, absolutely not.
All right, let's move on to your favorite division and your favorite squad.
The NFC North.
Campbell, Goff. Where's it rank? Does it rank ahead of Sirianni, Hurts?
I don't think you can put them above Sirianni and Hurts.
Ooh.
Sirianni and Hurts have been to a Super Bowl. Campbell and Goff have not. Campbell and Goff haven't done anything. They got to an NFC Championship game, and they lost it. Not saying they can't pass them depending on how this season goes, but right now, I think you have to put Sirianni and Hurts above Campbell and Goff.
All right.
Do you disagree with me on that one?
Maybe. I think I get at least a tie. Vikings. O'Connell, Darnold.
O'Connell has proven to be a very good coach. But again, I think it's premature to rank him and Darnold above Sirianni and Hurts when you haven't seen the Vikings do anything. They're having a good regular season.
Well, again, you gotta look like you gotta add growth here. Like this is a building situation. Also, who would you rather have at this point?
I would rather have Jalen Hurts than Sam Darnold.
All right.
So that gives me the edge, even though I think Kevin O'Connell's a good coach.
By the way, I always get O'Connell, McDaniels, and McDonald confused.
Well, McDaniels is in Miami.
I know. I always get him confused.
McDonald is where?
Seattle.
That's right. He was the defensive coordinator for the Ravens last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. They are confusing.
The Irish people go, how could that be? All right. Packers. LeFleur. Love. Who you got, Billy?
I hate to admit it. I think I'm going LaFleur and Love.
Oh, my, over your boy and Hurts.
I think LaFleur is a very good
So I'm not doing a good enough job.
Yeah, I think LaFleur is a very good coach.
That's one. Okay, Bears, new guy, and Caleb Williams. All right, let's move on to the other division. The Bucs. Todd Bowles, Baker Mayfield.
Nah, I'm taking Hurts and Sirianni.
All right, the Falcons. Raheem Morris, Michael Penix.
I'm still going Hurts and Sirianni. Raheem Morris, great defensive coordinator, has not shown that he has a lot of success as a head coach, at least in his first stint. And this is his first year in Atlanta. Not going badly, but you can't put him above these guys yet.
Okay. Saints, Toilet Man, and Derek Carr.
Wait, the Toilet Man. The fill-in coach.
I don't even know what his name is.
Yeah, no.
Toilet Man and Derek Carr.
No, you're definitely taking Sirianni.
All right, Panthers, Canales and Young.
No, Sirianni and Hurts.
All right, let's move on now to the AFC. Ooh. The Bills, McDermott, Josh Allen.
Ooh, I think you got to go McDermott and Allen, right? I mean, I don't. McDermott, I don't know if he's as great of a coach as sometimes he gets credit for. Very good coach, but Josh Allen tips the scales where it makes it you take Allen and McDermott.
All right,
over
so that's two that you have above, right?
Well,
right
three,
now?
because I gave
three.
Packers. I did Packers.
Chiefs, Packers. All right, Chiefs, Packers, Bills. You got ahead as the better combo.
Correct.
All right. Miami, McDaniel, and Tua.
No. I'm still shocked they gave McDaniel an extension as early as they did. What was the point of that?
Jets, Vrabel, and Aaron Rodgers. Neither of whom will be there. Could be there. Next. Patriots, Gerard Mayo, and who's that quarterback they have?
Next.
Who's the quarterback?
Drake May.
Yeah, Drake May.
Drake May, North Carolina. All right, yeah, all right. The Ravens. Ooh, the Ravens. Harbaugh and Lamar.
They got to be ranked above.
Oh, that's four now you got ranked ahead of them.
Yeah, they have to be.
Steelers, Tomlin and Wilson.
Tomlin, obviously, very good coach, but when you're factoring in the quarterback, you got to go Hurts and Sirianni.
All right, Bengals, Taylor and Burrow.
This one's interesting because Burrow's a stud, but I'm not 100% sure that Zach Taylor's that good.
Oh, but you got to make a choice. Does the quarterback push it over the top, over the coach?
Man, if you would have asked me this last year, I'd probably put Burrow and Taylor above, but based off of the way this season's gone,
I'm flat line on that.
I'm sticking Sirianni and Hurts.
All righty. Brown, Stefanski, and Jameis.
No.
All right. Next division. Texans. D'Amico Ryans, C.J. Stroud.
This is a tough one. I'm leaning Sirianni and Hurts, but it's close. It is close. I think C.J. Stroud, I know it hasn't been a spectacular year, but coming off of that rookie campaign, he's got a lot of potential, and I love D'Amico Ryans. But I'm still going to lean Hurts and Sirianni.
The Colts, Stinkin' and Richardson.
No.
All right, the Jaguars, Dougie P. and Trevor Lawrence. Ray's answered the question for you. Titans, Brian Callahan and Levis.
Just keep hitting
All
the
right,
buzzer.
the Chiefs, we already said Reed Mahomes. The Chargers,
Harbaugh.
Jim Harbaugh and Herbert.
And Justin Herbert. Until Herbert wins something, I'm going to still lean towards Sirianni and Hurts because I'm giving Hurts the edge, but that may next year or the year after, I don't know.
All right, the Broncos. Sean Payton, Bo Nix.
No.
All right.
Although an impressive first year for Bo Nix.
And the Raiders, this has got to be dead last.
Yeah.
Antonio Pierce and Kevin O'Connell. What?
All right. So
whatever his name is. O'Connell? Is that who's their quarterback?
O'Connell, yeah. Doing real great with the Irish
there's another
names.
O in there. Two O'Connells, McDaniel and a McDonald.
All right, so I got the Eagles then coming in at 5th when you put quarterback, head coach. And I think we would all agree with the 4 I have above them, the Chiefs, the Bills, the Packers, and the Ravens, right? Does anyone disagree with that, Ray or Mike?
Look at you. People are surprised that you have deferred.
But I'm getting
a little bit.
I'm getting some heat in the YouTube chat because I have the Lions and the Texans below and the Bengals below. Would you make the argument, and I'll get your answer on the other side, that the Texans, Lions, or Bengals head coach quarterback combo should be above the Eagles?
Not the Texans. The Bengals, yes. And what was the other one?
The Lions.
Yes.
You're taking Dan Campbell over Nick Sirianni and Jared Goff over Jalen Hurts?
Yes,
I'm not
man.
doing a good enough job.
Yes, man.
Which means then you're predicting they go to the Super Bowl? The Lions?
No, not yet.
You think the Eagles have a better team?
Yeah. Mike Missanelli Show. We're coming down the home stretch. We'll get to your calls. We got Robert, Tom, and Wes. We'll get to you after this.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Regular season finale. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by Groundworks, your expert for basement waterproofing and foundation repair since 1997. Book your free inspection at groundworks.com. Eagles take on the Giants Sunday at 1 o'clock down at Lincoln Financial Field. It is the final game of the regular season. A lot of backups for the Birds and whatever's left for the Giants. Birds locked into that 2 seed. And the Giants could use a loss to help out their draft position. Of course, the big story of the week has been the Eagles' decision not to play Saquon Barkley despite him being 101 yards away from the single-season rushing record. Brian Westbrook joined us yesterday to talk about what he thought about going for the record.
There would have been no question about it. I would have went for the record. These types of records, it's lasted 40 years because it's so hard to get to. It's so hard to be healthy. It's so hard to be consistent. And I think Saquon deserved the opportunity. I think the offensive line deserved it. I think the coaching staff deserved the opportunity to go for the record. And I understand the thought process. Hey, you want to be healthy. But he's been healthy all year.
You can listen to our whole conversation with former Eagles running back Brian Westbrook on our website, 975thefanatic.com. Elsewhere in Philadelphia sports, 2 lousy performances out west last night. 76ers lost 139-105 to the Warriors. Flyers lost 5-2 to the Golden Knights. This update's also brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off. I'm Ray Dunn on the home, the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
I forgot a division in our evaluation here. So to be fair to everybody here, we got the division of the NFC West that I forgot.
Yeah, and there's a tough one in there.
All right, so you got the San Francisco 49ers with Shanahan and Purdy.
That's a tough one. And then I don't know where I'm putting them. Are you taking Hurts and Sirianni over Shanahan and Purdy? I think that if I was going coaches, it's close. But when you factor in the quarterbacks, I think I'm taking Hurts over Purdy by a far enough margin that I still would go Sirianni and Hurts.
All right. Gino and McDonald.
Still the Eagles.
L.A. Rams. McVay and Stafford.
That's the tough one. If we're talking about over the next 5 years, Hurts and Sirianni. If you're talking about maybe just this year, like you could take this same team and put McVay and Stafford on it. Oh, man. I think you probably got to go McVay and Stafford if it's short term, right?
Yeah. And finally, Kyler Murray and Gannon.
No, that one's not close. I would say the only close ones are the 49ers, the Rams, the Lions, the Bengals. All of those may be close. I think the Chiefs, Bills, Packers, and Ravens are clearly ahead of the Eagles when you look at head coach quarterback combo.
All right, let's go back to the phones. Have some fun with our callers as we come down the home stretch of the Mike Missanelli Show. Robert in Collegeville. What's up, Robert?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good, man. How you doing?
Hey, that was interesting, man. I like that. That was an awesome the coach and quarterback combo. I really enjoyed it and got me thinking a lot, too. So I like your rankings, though. I probably agree with all of it. Hey, not that I want to beat this Saquon debate over and over, but I've been hearing now on talk shows and especially on TV media how the Eagles owe it to Saquon, how they did him back. It was so unjust, it was unfair, and they were selfish to take this away from him. That is such BS and nonsense. Where was Saquon? And I love Saquon. I love the fact that he's on our team. But this is a team sport. Without this offensive line, what were his stats? He would have been a good running back, but with the Eagles, he's probably going to end up being a Hall of Fame running back. So it goes both ways, and I just hated how everybody's now blaming Sirianni, blaming the Eagles team, how they took it away. I think this was the best decision. It was a hard decision to make. It was a mature decision, given the circumstances and everything. And I think, and you know what? I just checked something. Check this out. Saquon Barkley's birthday is February 9th, the day of the Super Bowl.
Oh.
You know what? I think we have a bigger gift in store for Saquon. We're going to give him a Super Bowl. What do you guys think about that?
What a pull by Robert. I love it.
Yeah.
Robert, I like your optimism. I'm a man who wants it all. I want it all. I wanted that record.
Hey, you know what, Mike?
I wanted the Super Bowl also.
Mike, I totally agree, man. I mean, it would have been awesome if he had gotten it at 16 games, but let me tell you something. I checked with all the fans from LA Rams. You know what? None of them is up and about, hooting and hollering that they still own the record. Nobody cares.
Oh, people care. 40-year record, Eric Dickerson, the all-time leading rusher, lasted for 40 years. That's significant.
So, interestingly, because you keep saying that this record would be, 40 years Saquon could have it.
Mm-hmm.
Just now, an article dropped on The Athletic. Why the NFL has seen a running back renaissance led by Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry. And it goes on and on to talk about how are you going to see more teams value that position going forward. And this goes hand in hand with what Ray and I have been saying, that the NFL is going to also switch to an 18-game season. So as cool as this would have been this year for Saquon to do it, and it would have been a memory we all would have, I don't think that record lasts for 40 more years. It's not going to last as long as what Eric Dickerson did.
There was a running back renaissance when Eric Dickerson set the record, right? How come How come nobody else did it? In that same running back renaissance era, how come Eric Dickerson's the only one that got to that total?
Because it was 16 games. I'm saying there's going to be a renaissance in addition to an 18-game season.
So the renaissance plus the 2 games makes the record irrelevant.
Correct. Not irrelevant.
So at the time, you shouldn't get the record because it's going to be broken within, 20 years since there's been a running back renaissance and they're going to add a game. That should go into the rationale for it?
Correct. Because if you look at the 6 people in between Saquon and Eric Dickerson, you had 6 players get within 100 yards of Eric Dickerson's record. Could you imagine if they had 2 extra games to do it?
Okay. I'm just looking at something interesting here. Not that it has anything to do with anything. Michelle Castellanos posted something on Twitter.
Would that be Nick Castellanos' wife?
That is Nick Castellanos' wife.
Would that be Liam's mother?
That would be Liam's. Yes, I think.
It's not. Ray says no. It's not. Sorry about that.
It's not. Oh,
Look,
no?
Ray knows all the info.
Really?
Are you sure, Ray?
The first wife?
Yeah, Michelle is his mother.
Ah, so it's not his wife.
And I do not believe that his wife is Liam's mother.
His mother looks pretty young. That's his mother?
That's what you're finding out live on the air right now.
Really?
Interesting. I'm looking it up now. Michelle Castellanos. Is she Mitch Cast 05?
She just posted something with Liam. Liam sees it. Are you sure it's not his mother?
No, that's not his. That's his mom. That is Castellanos.
Michelle Castellanos is his mom?
Yeah, because that does not look like his wife.
Okay.
Yeah, Michelle's the
okay,
mother.
then. All right. Anyway, the mother just posted betting slips that she has just bet. She has bet $50 on the Philadelphia Phillies plus 175 to be the division winner. Like that? You like that play?
As long as it's her own play and not a conduit for Castellanos betting.
No, it's her play.
All right, good.
She's got it.
But that's how Isaiah Rodgers got in trouble. He said he was betting for other people.
Okay. Anyway, she makes one other $50 bet straight up. Philadelphia Phillies National League outright winner. And one bet at $100. Philadelphia Phillies World Series winner at plus 1,100.
You don't like future bets, though, do you? You don't do those.
You have to wait too long for them. Silly. You got your money tied up for an entire season? Yeah.
That's kind of what I like about it.
Yeah, I don't like it. You're not getting any interest on that money, are you?
No, you're not.
Okay. You're putting you're betting $100 that you just threw away to wait for several months?
True. I put $100 before the season on the Philadelphia Eagles to win the NFC East. It paid me $171. So I just got paid because they clinched it.
But anyway, she just spent $200 for a maximum payout of $1,200.
All right. I'm rooting for you, Michelle.
There you go. All right, back to the phones. Tom in Alabama. What's up, Tommy?
Yo, Mike. Yo, Bill.
What's going on, Tom?
My man.
Not much. I hope you guys are well. When the NFL eventually does get to that 18-game regular season, I think you should have 2 bye weeks by that time. I didn't realize that the game, I was thinking that this week's game was in New York, and I thought that, all the fans there would be storming, they'd want to see Barkley get it, the Giants fans, whether they were in New York or not. And the previous caller, I'm not blaming Serriani. I'm just questioning the fact he's supposed to be, a player's coach, but I think this is beyond his decision here. But, man, they could have put him in there for the first half. I mean, I'm changing my stance, especially like you said. I talked to 2 or 3 40-year season ticket holders, and I can't tell you what they said to me on here. Not very happy, obviously. And like you said, parking, toll, gas. It's ridiculous, man. They owe it to the Philadelphia fan. And what better guy to get it, and like I said, the Giants fans want to see him get it because it's Saquon Barkley, right?
I'm trying to do something good for the people here, Tommy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Get back a little something to the people. 20%.
That's Penn State, man. They're looking good all the way around here, man. I got to say, and I'm pulling for them too. I'm on the record here, Missanelli. You hear me?
All right. Yeah, by the way, when's the Alabama Crimson Tide playing the playoffs? I missed them. They got a game coming up?
No. Yeah, you're real funny,
Have you seen this commercial with Nick Saban for Verbo?
Oh, it's so good.
No fun. No shower. No showers more than 5 minutes.
The rules.
No fun.
Yeah, it's the rules. He's really good at that commercial.
Yeah, he is. He turned into a pitchman. Let's go to Wes and Trenton. Wes, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Wes.
Gentlemen, what's going on?
What's going on, Wes?
Die-hard Giants fans, Rutgers University, and Sixer fans. Sixers and Giants, obviously, I'm in a little bit of therapy right now, but this conversation reminds me a lot about the Giants season in 2008 when the Patriots were undefeated and the Giants gained nothing by playing them in that last preseason game. I remember myself and all the fans thought they should rest them, but they played them, had a really good game, almost beat them, and it really gave them momentum going into the playoffs and ultimately winning the Super Bowl. I think we're really losing focus of the fact that timing is key. These guys need to play together. The offensive linemen need to gel. The timing on the wide receivers need to be right. And I just think that without having that cohesiveness over a 2.5-week period, you just run the risk of not having that timing. And just looking at Saquon's press conference, he's pissed off about this. And I think that could either be a good thing or bad thing. But, I think the right call would be to play those guys in the first half, see if the Giants load the box and if he's getting any yards. And if that's the case, then pull him out. You keep him happy. You keep the timing good. You keep the offensive line gelling. You keep the wide receivers with good timing. And look, you have a great quarterback, but sometimes his timing is off. And having 2.5 weeks of basically playing
it'll be interesting to see that he hasn't played in a while and how that will work out in that first playoff game. But that ship has sailed, Wes. It's not going to happen. Saquon will get over it. I know he wanted to play, but he's got to also understand that a lot of other guys would have had to play that maybe wouldn't have wanted to play.
Think there's any chance he even dresses?
No.
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 None.
No, they're not. They're not springing him on the game now.
Nah. Yeah. Saquon's not dressing.
No. Because now you're in a mindset you're not playing. That's the end.
I mean, some guys are going to have to dress that don't get in the game, but not Saquon. He won't.
No, he knows. He's a street clothes guy.
Yeah. He'll be in street clothes. Hurts will be in street clothes. Probably those offensive linemen, Johnson and Mailata, will be in street clothes.
Yeah. Leo in New Jersey. Leo, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Leo.
Hey, fellas, first and foremost, I just want to say Happy New Year to you.
Thank you. You too, Leo.
And I hope in all your ups and downs in 2025 just be between the sheets, okay? Now, Mike, I'm married to an educator, and I just want to say to you, thank you for your service, for what you do as an educator, too.
Oh, thank you. I try to educate.
Bro,
I'm unsuccessful in this own booth.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
No, but seriously, though, man, you guys are the least thanked, and you guys are the ones who actually have a hand in the future. So thank you, bro. And like I said, I'm married to one, so I know what y'all got to deal with. Let's talk about the Eagles for a hot second. I am disappointed that Saquon's not going to be given the opportunity to go for the record. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. And that being said, with the way this Pro Bowl caliber type of offensive line that we have, how about, let's say for another goal, why not just go for 2,000 yards again next year? That'd be a first, wouldn't it?
Well, I'm sure that they would try to do that, and sometimes it doesn't manifest. My only point here was you're only 101 yards from setting an all-time record. I mean, forget what happens next year. I mean, this was right in front of you.
Hey, man, my business partner is a retired Baltimore Raven who played on the offensive line, and he tells me the things that he tells me that what they all have to deal with to play 16 straight games like they've been doing. That's a lot, and so to be able to get that one week of rest, it means the world to them. So because I've never played football, I tend to defer to what football players say.
I'm sure he's right. Listen, I am sure he's right, Leo. But to me, an all-time record trumps all that.
Oh man, you ain't never lie. You ain't never lie. I agree.
So I mean, that's the bottom line. But thank you for the. I hope all your ups and downs are between the sheets.
I haven't never heard that one.
Me neither. Appreciate it.
I don't even know what that means, Bill. Can you explain that to me?
Ray?
We're kind of short on time.
Your 15-10 SAT score?
Can you explain that to us, Ray?
When you get older, I'll explain it to you. All right?
Good one, Ray.
It is time for closing arguments. We get it. Oh, no. Before we get to that, we still have Bill first show audio that we went. Now, we played a couple of ones. Ray, what would you select here? When Bill's audition tape, when he actually went on the air live with Connor Thomas, they're trying to break the young lad in to the radio business, his first show.
1 year ago today.
What stands out?
Let's get him talking about culture and culture under Nick Sirianni.
Oh, my God.
Talking about culture, you're talking about all these guys being on the same page on the field. And I really think when you look at this season, that's been the biggest surprise for me is, yes, it's a surprise the offense hasn't clicked for 4 quarters really in any game. Yes, it's a surprise that the defense is getting completely dominated. But the one thing we always heard about Nick Sirianni was the culture that he brought to this team. You look at the leadership on this team with Jason Kelsey and Lane Johnson and Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox and Jalen Hurts. But yet, the one thing that has been such a surprise is that there appears to be a crack in the foundation of the culture. And that's what surprised me so much this season. And, hey, I know a lot of fans are excited. Maybe with A.J. Brown talking, this is all going to get fixed. I don't think it is. And they need to get this culture right because it does affect the play on the field like you're talking about.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
He actually was critical of Sirianni, Mr. Culture, and all of a sudden the culture had cracked. This is in the middle of the 6 of 7?
It was. I think it was after the Seattle game. Maybe
No, it was after the Cardinals because Cardinals was New Year's Eve.
So it was before the Giants Week 18 game and before the wild card. I'll tell you what, man. Looking back, I was pretty spot on, dude. I was pretty spot on.
Wow, you thought you were right? That's
There
so
was
inconsistent.
culture crack.
There
and
was.
And yet you endorsed the man to come back.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, 1 year ago today. Because I felt that a lot of what you saw should have been put on Sirianni, but it wasn't all on him. And I felt he deserved another chance to come back. And I think that was the right call. We look now, we got a team that has 13 wins, 2 seed in the NFC.
Plenty of time for your victory lap. We got to get to closing arguments.
Closing arguments.
Thank you.
They are.
Now, closing arguments on the Mike Missanelli Show. Brought to you by Lowenthal and Abrams Injury Attorneys. Injured in an accident, call 800-876-LAWYER or visit LowenthalAbrams.com.
All right, there's no mystery of Saquon breaking the record, which would have been really beneficial for fans to attend this game. Instead, they have to now schlep their way to Lincoln Financial Field to see crap, to see third stringers, to see Tanner McKee, to see the lousy New York Giants, and for full price. Me, as a man of the people, I propose something today that maybe the Eagles could take to heart and use for the future. If you're going to saddle your fan base with a meaningless game where you're going to rest all your players, and that's a good thing, I get it. But if you're going to saddle your fan base and the people who come to this game, throw them a frickin' bone. Give them a Clark bar or something. But I propose 20% off the ticket price that you put back into their account. Yeah, I'm a man of the people. I'm a man of the consumer who is raped continually with high ticket prices. And my thing was just to give a little something back since you took Swaycon away from us. Bill?
Yeah, it's a lovely thought, Mike. It's just not practical. I've gone through the reasons why I disagree on how this could be implemented, but it's a nice thought. You are a man of the people. But even with that all being said, I know we don't care about the outcome of this game. There are things to be excited about in this football game. I do want to see what Will Shipley can do. I do want to see what Jeremiah Trotter Jr. can do. I'm curious to see what Tanner McKee is going to do over 4 quarters with your Penn State buddy, Jahan Dotson, and maybe even the rookie, Anaya Smith. There are things to look for in this game, but clearly we're all already looking forward to the wild card matchup, which is probably going to be the Packers. By the way, who do you want before we get out of here? Do you want Packers or Commanders? You had your choice.
Commanders. I think they would. I'd rather beat the Commanders, but as far as this game, I'd rather hang a picture.
Right, Packers or Commanders? You're going Commanders,
I'd
right?
rather see the Commanders.
Yeah.
Same.
All right. Have a great weekend, everybody. Be safe out there. We'll talk to you next week.
Us yesterday to talk about how he views going forward that record.
There would have been no question about it. I would have went for the record. These types of records, it's lasted 40 years because it's so hard to get to. It's so hard to be healthy. It's so hard to be consistent. And I think Saquon deserved the opportunity.